Okay, I'm back. I'm alive. Woo. It's been a difficult heat wave, this heat wave. This one of many heat waves. We have a heat wave in our heat wave. It's like a nested heat wave. They are feeding off of one another in order to create the ultimate heat wave. Unlike anyone has ever seen before. All these record-breaking heat levels. Sorry, my voice is a little weird. How's this camera doing? This camera needs to be calibrated. We'll calibrate all of our cameras first. There's the on-air light doing its thing. We're not really going to need the microscope. I'll do it anyway. Sometimes I leave OBS open between streams. Make sure my audio is off here. Okay, yeah. And then we got to open up YouTube chat. Open up YouTube chat. Click on the cleanup thumbnail that I spent so much time on. It was like 5 seconds. Pop out this chat. The I'm pretty sure GIMP allows me to edit, like to add that white border around the text that I use. Because that hand drawing the text and then putting the white border around it is what takes the most time out of you know, making the thumbnails for my stream. I could probably automatically do that, couldn't I? There might be something that just does that for me. I do it by selecting by color and then growing 5 pixels, personally, and then also in the program. I don't know, there's probably a way to automate that I should be doing to do it more easily. All right, let's see. So we've got a total of no viewers because everyone's left. And all of the browsers that have been open to my stream are closed. It's been a minute. I missed a couple streams there just from being a wreck of a human being. I've still got the bruises from last time. See that? They really fucked me up, didn't they? They messed me up. Yeah, but I'm back. I'm ready to go. My arms still hurt. It's like, it doesn't fail. I ended up buying the laser safety glasses for these, and I printed the nose piece in smoked plastic. I added black plastic to the clear plastic for the safety glasses. Check this out. Check this out. So I'm probably going to do the screen for the keyboard in this plastic, but this is the result of dumping a little bit of black plastic into the clear. So you've got a combo with the two. That makes this nice smoked plastic. Of course, there's still little pock marks from the support structure, but the stuff that prints without support is like perfect. The signature of SLA printing is that it has an incredible amount of detail. The posts for the nose piece, and it turns out, I took a look at my other one, they did a redesign. Look at that. They've got a long flat piece instead of multiple little things that will poke into the human being. I think maybe some ballistics testing told them that, hey, this is no bueno. You can't do this, because this, when you get something to strike the front of the glasses, would likely push those little posts into the human being. I'm gonna guess that's what they're doing here. That's why they changed it. So I actually did redesign the nose piece. I had to go into the files and figure out what the hell I was doing, because there's all kinds of just wacky nonsense in those files. Because I was the whole process of creating the nose bridge was more a process of learning AutoCAD. That's how it always is, isn't it? It's always a process of learning AutoCAD in the first place. Like, how am I supposed to do this? What is the process that'll lead me to be able to create something like this? And so, you know, I had to go back through that process in the timeline and figure out what in the heck I was doing when I extruded those parts. And then I was able to extrude a long flat piece that's currently on the printer right now. The print is done. I just need to glove up and go over there. And my life is falling apart in such a way that I have just not done it. It's a simple thing to do, and it's on a list of things that I need to do. I haven't done it. That's the state that I'm in these days. I'll process the print after stream. It's just got to glove up and then I need to take the bed off, scrape the thing off, put it in alcohol, put the bed back on, which it doesn't have any alignment stuff. I could really use like an edge at the back of the bed that I could hit up against, and then that would snap up in place, because that magnet is powerful. I mean, it's an SLA print, so it's got to really like pull away with a lot of force. So there's a strong magnet holding it on, and the process of putting the bed back on the magnet is actually wearing away the magnet. It scrapes a little bit in the back, and then a little plastic comes off of the magnet. I'm probably going to have to replace that magnet and clean up whenever I'm done this batch of prints. But this is important because this clear material will look better for the screen on my keyboard. I'll be able to have the keyboard shine through this with enough light that you can still see the text, and then it'll cover over the screen hole a little bit nicer. It's incredible that all of that technology going into 3D scanning completely failed when it came to the keyboard. It just completely and utterly failed, and literally just taking a picture with a camera was the best way to get the amount of detail that I needed. Now, I've seen some 3D scans of stuff that has way more detail than that, so I think it's just a matter of the 3D scanner that we have is not great. Oh, it's still plugged in. Neat. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I've kind of left on the lay side here that we'll get to. What's the music doing? This is not chill. This is not chill at all. Pause that. I don't know what the volume was on that too. A chill after party? Maybe not. This looks like AI is creating some of these thumbnails, huh? Too much AI. Let's see here. Birthday party, mix. I'm just trying to find something to go in the background here. Do this guy. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on, I'm gonna let it get through the initial thing. Spotify, what am I using? SoundCloud. SoundCloud's trying to like monetize really hard, so it's become a little bit more difficult for me to put the background music in the stream. I was supposed to be automating that with the synthesizer, trying to make some weird tones that would take up the background, but that didn't really work out. I'm still working on it. I mean, we'll get back to the synthesizer. I need to clean up first. This desk back here should be empty instead of filled with crap. Yeah, they play an advertisement and then an ad pops up on the screen. Wow. Pretty crazy. The natural life cycle of any website on the internet, of course, goes to and from monetization, and then everybody moves on to a new site and the old one fails. I'm going to wager that they did this with the nose piece simply because they didn't want to have like a spike that would hit you in the nose. I bet you that's what it is. And then this probably holds on to the rubber a lot more strongly. So all I did to do that was make a post that was parallel to this line. That was the appropriate length and started approximately at the bottom of that curve, which might be a problem actually, looking at it right now. Looking at it right now, it actually needs to be parallel to that. It needs to be below that curve. So I may need to alter my my drawing a little bit and move the bridge down. I guess if the bridge is up a little higher, that's not a total project killer. If that's like this, it'll sit on the plastic though. Yeah. Okay. So I may need to alter my model. Curses. Oh my God! I'm gonna mute the music for this. This is like YouTubers cannot hear the music, but those on Twitch can hear an irritating rendition of what is it, Major Tom. That's just a little bit too it's a little kind of annoys me. Just a bit of Yeah, we're gonna clean up that desk today. That needs to happen. I've been staring at it for a couple days now and just not working on it. So this is the stream where I kind of kick my own butt and get me to do stuff. No one's around because it's Tuesday. Everybody's doing stuff. Everybody's at work. I don't know if I'm gonna do the method of like painting, because if I use a paintbrush on the screen thing, I can make it clear with just a minimal amount of paint. not paint, this stuff, the ultraviolet epoxy. I can take a brush and brush a very thin layer on, and that'll smooth out the roughness of the print, and it'll make it so it's a little bit more optically clear, but then it'll be far away from the rough stuff. Like, I'd want the rough stuff to be closer to the screen. I don't know what I want to do with that. Maybe I'll just print it in the SLA that I've mixed and then see how it performs just with the rough screen. I need to open up the screen area a little bit too, because it doesn't quite fit the different. I put a new screen in there, and the new screen is a little bit more loose. It's like a bit more loose. I don't know how else to describe it. So the dimensions are just a bit larger than they should be, which is unfortunate. This camera, we're gonna move over to the other desk, and I'll have two views. I'll have this one and this one trained on that desk so that I can have a couple scenes there. I don't know how much activity there will be in chat while I clean. I will not be able to see chat unless I can figure out a way to pull it up on that other laptop that I have sitting over there. That other laptop is so old. It's somehow running Windows 10 very poorly. it's amazingly old. Probably should downgrade it to XP again, but it can barely open like streams and stuff. I was barely able to get Noita to run on that laptop years and years ago. There's probably a low settings mode that's a lot better now for Noita, but I had to install a couple mods and then run it on its lowest settings, and it was sort of able to play the game. It was I had like a long flight that I wanted to survive. Turns out just listening to music was my entire thing of the flight, but still. How is chat doing? Nobody's around. It's kind of amazing. Kind of amazing. You miss a couple days of stream and everything blows up. By the way, Node-RED, the stuff that we thought we were going to do in Node-RED, it turns out we were looking at the wrong thing. This ID that uniquely identifies this subscription, the subscription is to the object or whatever. It's not, this is a subscription insofar as we're referring to the event sub subscription. So this is the robot's subscription to the event sub notifications. That's what that is. It's not what you think. Here, let's pull the music back in. There we go. It is not an ID that uniquely identifies the user subscription. That's not what that is, which is ridiculous. So all of our thoughts into modding Node-RED, we don't need to do it. The author of the GitHub project, Zuri, has done everything they can do. They've given us all the information that they possibly can in order to give us the event sub notifications. So that was unfortunately a red herring. That was the reddest of the red herrings. So we're back here. Gerb, Hall, Twerple. We don't need to worry about Twerple. Node-RED is fine. And that's the thing Julian wants me to build that I've been avoiding. We got to do more synthesizer stuff. I want to make my synthesizer and make it portable-ish so that I can go to Julian's house and not sit here all day. And do synthesizer things. Learn about synthesizers and music. We'll get there. It is slow going because I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of fires burning at the moment. But as long as I can make slow progress on stuff, we'll move forward. Excuse me. Yeah. So I want to get that desk cleaned up today. We're going to dump all the project boxes out, and then I'll sift through the rubble and figure out if there's any value to anything that's there. And if there isn't, it gets thrown out. And that's just what that's how we're going to do it. I didn't bring a trash bag down here. I probably should have done that. That's fine. We'll be all right. I'll designate a trash bin and maybe we'll move on from there. So. Yeah, so I guess we're doing everything we can with Twitch, with Node-RED. I haven't done the shout-out reception flow yet. I don't have anything for that, but we've got The channel point fart box is working, and if we want to set up something else to you know, channel the channel points into, we can. Subs and gifts are given a visual notification. That's what the bulb 2 is doing. That's the idea of light that's sitting in front of me. We have a raid notification also on the light, and then we have certain channel chat message alerts. We've got a couple of those going. Eventually, the sub or gift flows will be given a new MQTT device, perhaps. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to set it up. That will be Burn the Subs, which is a big board that sits on my wall and burns the names of subscribers onto itself using a laser. And I guess the way that's going to work is that Node-RED will vet out, and the fart machine, right? I forgot the fart, and we have a channel point redemption for the fart machine. That one is currently running, and it does all its business is done in the flow. That is, where is that? Sub gift, point redeem, fart. Yeah, and then we can put another node on that if I figure out what I want. But the way I think the board is going to work, if we continue the board the way it was, we could put Gerbhal on it, because the old board used Gerbil, GRBL. Gerbhal is, I guess, the updated Gerbal. Gerbil, I guess is what you're supposed to call it, Gerbhal. We could maybe make the board use Gerbhal, and then the board itself works very much in the same way that it did historically, which is to, in Python, it will use, I think, 3 threads, one to monitor MQTT, once we redo the bot. We'll have one monitoring MQTT, we'll have one that processes names. I think it's the one thread that we use. Do we use multiples? I think we do. It does a couple things at once. But anyway, we'll get the packet from MQTT that'll contain a username that's been vetted out by a profanity filter. A light one. I don't want it to be too strict. But there should be like at least a window where I can cancel the sub, and I may need to build in something that will fully wipe the sub from the database, because that was the thing that happened. Some people crossed some lines, and I had to undo names. One of them I did quietly. I didn't tell anybody about it, but yeah, that'll be an inevitability. But yeah, I'll have to either have like an oh shit button where I've got like a window where I can cancel the sub, and potentially some kind of a script that I can run that'll fully delete a name. And that's careful sanding. You got to sand down a couple layers of wood in order to make that happen. And then there's kind of a divot there, but it doesn't quite show up on cameras. So nobody's really totally cognizant of the divot that it leaves, which is good. I'm gonna try not to be on camera today. I don't know if I should be on camera today. It's like a bad hair. It's a surprisingly good hair day, but it's also like bother in the middle of a heat wave, like partially dying. And that said, hey, I got approval to go on Ozempic, so maybe I won't be 10 million billion pounds. I guess that gets here the first day of the month, and then subsequently, I guess every month after that, I get another one. But maybe that'll lead to a different attitude around food. I've got to kind of prepare myself for that. I'm gonna put this bridge in here. How's it going, Capranga? Things have been pretty quiet around here. Actually, no, they haven't. We've had people doing things at the house for like a month. It's been crazy. You got all kinds of like carpenters and just, oh my God, it's nuts. We had one of the vents in the unfinished part of the basement fell down and didn't connect. So like the upstairs has been brutally hot. They had to have somebody come out and check it out, and they can't because they're doing a bunch of emergency jobs for people because it's a massive heat wave. We've had a month, actually a whole season of heat waves. It's been unrelenting around here. Shit is fucked up, man. Climate change, my ass. I don't know what planet climate change deniers live on, but it certainly isn't this one, because this one's hot as fuck. Here's with the partially clear nose bridge. It's a weird kind of color. It's a little bit gray, isn't it? It's like a dark, dark gray. Not bad though. I don't think it'll be too bad. This is why you scan your nose? Yeah, exactly. I scan my whole face because I've got a giant nose bridge, and wraparound safety glasses need to actually wrap around to do their job. The unfortunate part is that it is pressing on the outside of these lenses, which makes them go like this, and that changes the pupillary distance. So I've had sort of a bad pupillary distance with those, but as a result of scanning my big fat face, these actually fit to my nose, and they protect. They actually protect. So I have some laser safety lenses coming in the mail for these. These don't stay on my head very well, do they? I mean, they're okay. Hot but nice and quiet around here. It's been hot and completely and utterly insane around here. That's why I haven't been streaming. There's been just too much going on. Unfortunately, when I don't stream, you can see we've got like 5 people here. So, with angle grinder, sparks can still get in your eyes. Yeah. They do sell a gasket that goes around this and actually not seals it, but it protects it against your face a little harder. I'm going to give that a try. It was like 15, 30 bucks for the gasket. So I'm going to give that a try. The other thing that I want to do is open this up a little bit. These need to unbend just a little bit so that my pupillary distance is all right. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they actually fit my face because I scanned my face. There's no way that they couldn't fit because that's where all the engineering work went. The problem is when that thing is bent like that, I can see this way. I can see like at a here. I can, like, if you're looking at me viewing stuff, it's like that. So if I go a little bit like uncrossed eyes, or if I view out of the side a little bit, I can see better at a distance if I view just a little bit to the side. But yeah, anyway, that's what we've been working on this for quite a bit. But it works. It's actually successful, which is nice. I guess what I could do is get a torch and try to like unbend these a little bit. I wonder what their failure mode is. Certainly not shatter into a billion pieces. I don't think that would be the failure mode. Oh, hold on, I gotta put on glasses to just read text on the computer now. Jeez. How's your magnificent magnification? The magnification, roughly the same. This is so I can see normal. The only problem with getting the glasses prescription is they want to sell you on bifocals, and like I'm a little bit nearsighted, so I can see stuff. And so they put the prescription on you and they set it to be this far away, so I can see stuff really clearly this far away. So things up close get weird, and they say, why don't we could sell you progressive lenses for more money. And I'm like, I could just do this. Like, ridiculous. They're just trying to milk all your money out of you. And it's my milk. It's my precious money milk. Oh, too many things have been left by the wayside here. I'm just looking at Burn the Subs right now, which is just sitting right here making fun of me. All this wonderful progress that I could make, and I've just not, But yeah, I'm seeing a little better. I'm feeling a little better. I don't have all that dirty blood in me. You got rid of my blood and left me with these giant bruises. The synthesizers, the Synth-Snizzler. The synthesizer is an ongoing and unfortunately unworked on project lately, and I will indeed get back to that. It's been sitting. We need to tune a lot of the modules, and I need to learn a lot of the modules. So that's going to be a day where we can just sit down, hook up all the audio stuff, and sort of puddle our way through that until I've got a bunch of working modules that can then be a synthesizer. I think I've got plenty of VCOs. I've got plenty of stuff. Maybe I might lack in like the filter department. We might need to reflash one of the devices to be a filter. and I need to check over and see that my soldering's okay for a lot of these things, because a lot of the mutable instruments modules are small. They have a lot of small stuff to them, and the small stuff can unfortunately suffer from oh bother soldering syndrome, where something looks like it's soldered but it's not. Yeah, we're not working on it today. We're cleaning up today. Cleaning is very important, and it's something that I haven't done lately. Basically, what I want to do is I want to take all these boxes that are sitting over here, and I want to dump them all out and go through the stuff. I think that'll be a fun stream. A lot of talking that I can do about that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then eventually we'll get back to burning the subs, because that's an important thing. I don't know how I'm gonna have chat over there. I'm gonna have to like peek over at you guys. Chat's gonna be understandably incredibly slow. Filter piles for audio stuff. No, wait. No. I mean, we might brush against the synthesizer stuff, because I do have 2 bins over there that are filled with synthesizer modules. I was supposed to be a tuned and untuned pile. I was supposed to like tune the thing and move it over, and we tried to tune one of them, and it became a whole stream of me not doing the right thing. This really annoys me. We were supposed to make like significant progress, and the synthesizer module was supposed to be tuned. Julian would argue that some people say like you're not really supposed to tune them specifically. You're not really supposed to tune the synthesizer modules. They're supposed to kind of exist in a state. Although musically, I don't want to be like a little bit off key. You know, I want everything to be tonally correct in terms of like 1 note per volt and stuff like that. I think it's useful to tune the instrument, but like you look at some musicians and some musicians existing sort of outside of the confines of how we define notes and stuff, detuning your piano in order to create certain scales. That stuff is kind of cool. I don't think I'm musical enough to really have any footing on that regard, you know? It's like the cowboys tuning to the sounds of the desert. But anyway, I feel like we should tune the synthesizer modules and make sure that they work fully, and then implement them. That's sort of the progress for that one. And then we can start working with lasers again too, because I'm going to have actually a nice tinted set of safety glasses for working with the blue laser. Step 1 is make noise. Yeah, but I need to make sure that it can create all the proper noise, you know, all the signals and the noise. I need to make sure that everything works, because the first mutable instrument module that I was working on, Marbles, had so many problems with it. It had so many problems. Like, oh, look, this resistor is barely not soldered. And if I just touch it with the soldering iron, everything works. It wasn't, well, not quite that, but it's like this channel now works. And now what is this channel doing? Oh, this channel, one of the feet of the op amp isn't soldered down. Like, that kind of nonsense is what plagued the synthesizer project. So step 1 isn't even making noise. Step 1 is making signals, I guess. Yeah, this thing, it fits pretty good. I'm still here for it. Yeah. Appreciate you. It's unfortunate. If my face would unbend these just a little bit more. I did try moving the glasses piece back, but you need to move it a significant amount in order to get it to not bend with the wrap of these things. So I'm going to have to settle for viewing out of the sides of my eyes instead of out of the middle. It's kind of stupid. I think that's what their redesign was, why they have the one that clips on the middle and has the 2 pieces of the glasses sitting to the sides. I think it's smaller lenses, and they don't bend with the optics, perhaps. But I'm trying to knock out a couple projects so that I don't have this big long list of stuff that I need to do. There's some things that we need to come back for, but the Node-RED stuff was actually very important to a bunch of projects at once. So this is done. The stuff that we were talking about last stream, unfortunately, is not the solution that I thought it was. This property, oops, hold on, back. This ID right here is not an ID that uniquely identifies this subscription. As in, it's not the Twitch user subscription. It is the subscription to the channel point event, or the subscription to the event sub. So a unique ID that identifies the event sub subscription, which is, why would they call it that? Don't call it that. Call it something else, because it's very confusing when you're dealing with channel subscriptions as well. But so this stuff we're not dealing with. All this stuff here, nothing. And I guess the event cost is, yeah, event sub uses a cost-based system for subscription limits. Wait, the maximum number of subscriptions you can create grows as users authorize your application. What? Oh, I guess that's if you've got like a big overarching app that people would use. We're just a personal robot. We probably have a minimal amount, but either way, it's enough for my stream. So I don't think we're gonna ever run into any limits. But again, like, see, this is the cost of the subscription to the event sub, because this is specifically talking about subscription limits for event sub. So that's where we got confused. Is this is not the user's personal subscription. This is the robot's subscription to the channel point, or to the event sub. Do you maybe see where that could get? I have a mosquito bite? Are you kidding me? When did that happen? Right there. It's all puffy and itchy. When did that happen? There it is, right there. A little mosquito bite. Son of a bitch. I don't know if I have the means to get I need to put something hot on it to break down the protein so it doesn't itch. Or just ignore it, which is probably what I'll end up doing. Although I'll probably look down at some point and be scratching it actively. I just don't know when that could have happened. We don't have any bugs in the house at the moment. Could have been any time, any place. Another time, another place. Anyway, how's everybody been doing? It's been a massive heat wave here. We've had a month of over temperaturing. It's going to break at the end of the week, they say, but they always kind of say that. And then we're on to another heat wave. They're probably going to be like, oh, it's going to be 75 degrees on Friday, and then it'll go back up to 90. Because that's how these things work. That's what we're fated to have, is permanent heat waves. It was a pretty cold winter, too. I was hoping that we would have a cooler summer. I guess the pendulum swings, huh? I guess we should probably get to some cleanup, huh? I'm just sitting here, waiting. Yeah, let's unintro. We apply a negative intro to the intro, and it cancels out. How's it going? We need to clean up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This place is butts. I have been sitting in this sort of bird's nest of perpetual mess, and I need to dig myself out of it. It's become that kind of thing, where the mess is creating more of a mess. That's just what we're in for. So what I want to do today is the project boxes that are stored in the far corner of my shop. It's basically the thing right there behind my shoulder. You're looking at a can one of the trays that's full of paint, and above it is the shelf, and the shelf's looking rather bare because that's where I store all of my project stuff. What's up, Bring Gigi, Pseudomaze, Caparonga, Hidonica, all kinds of names in chat. How you guys doing? So I'm gonna be over here working on the bench, but I don't have like a local chat. I've got a laptop sitting over there. I need to kind of go through the painful process of like getting to the web pages because that laptop is hilariously slow. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to bother to do that. But we need to basically just clean off that bench. The bench is full of all these cardboard drink beer trays. Around here in Pennsylvania, we go to a distributor to get beer, and the beer distributors for beer, for liquor, you have to go to a state store, right? It's like a wine and spirits store. Just open your own stream. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you do. That's how you look at your own chat for some things. Yeah, so we have state stores, and then we have distributors. And the distributors where you can get beer and stuff. Some supermarkets around here have gone through the trouble of installing a bar, even though nobody is at the bar. You can technically go to the bar and get drinks, which is weird. I've seen people in grocery stores just sitting at the bar having drinks. Anyway, so we go to distributors, and distributors have the bulk orders of like beer and stuff. So when you get beer, you get a supply of it, right? And they have these trays for two like 30 racks or whatever. So two 30 racks on a tray, you could buy that. That's what I do. And so I end up with a lot of these cardboard trays. Cardboard trays are good because you can just view stuff in them, right? And it's a little tray that you can bring to the bench and stuff like that. So that's how I've been organizing all of my stuff. It's gotten out of hand because things go in a tray goes on the shelf. Never think about it again, right? Well, this is me thinking about it again. Unfortunately, I need to go back through and take a look at some of this stuff. I poured a slab with 40 bags of concrete. Jesus, that is a lot. That's a big slab. 40 bags? I don't know how far concrete typically goes, but that sounds like a thick slab indeed. That's not work that I would be wanting to do in this season. That sounds like utter hell. All right, let's get over here. I have to assume you had a concrete mixer, hopefully. Yeah, not in this weather. That sounds awful. Train my light over here a little bit so we have some lighting. 3 inches thick, a bit on the side. I did not have a mixer. I had a tarp and a hose. Oh my God. Clean up on aisle 71. Mahalo! Mahalo! For 71 months. 71 months. Damn. That is a long subscription. Thank you, Mahalo. I really appreciate that very much. Very much indeed. Big supporter of this weird channel that I've started. All right. Oh my God. All this stuff over here is just a complete sty. Let's start getting to it though. I think the best thing that we can do is just to dump all these cubes, all these project things. There's like a barge of dog hair down here. Oh my God. What in the world? Okay. Vacuuming will happen eventually, but for now, this needs to be a blank surface, and I need to go through and sort it all out. So I am just going to dump. Dump. Here are blank boxes, but there's stuff in the bottom one, so let's get this out of here. This is the GCP Gray YouTube video about AI and how it's trained, and he made this cute little AI plushie, and I bought 2 of them. One of them went to the nieces and nephews. The other one is sitting around the shop. Who knew the existential terror that AI would be back when that video was made? We need your help on aisle 10. Hello, Allison. I want to hold your hand. Haven't been the same man since I saw you coming in. Okay, this does not get dumped because this was another dump. This is just perpetuating the dumps. This is an engine cover for a Volkswagen Mark IV 1.8 liter turbo car that I used to own. And a buddy and I basically commissioned my friend to make the sort of tribal tattoo style that was popular at the time. This thing looks like a Zerg unit from StarCraft. But I commissioned him to make it, gave him notes on it, and then I put high temperature masking tape over the stainless steel cover and then powder coated it. A reminder that all of your projects will eventually become cringe. And then eventually that cringe will become cool. Maybe, if you're lucky. Never shy from cringe. It'll happen to us all. So I keep this as a reminder of that. I don't know where to put this, though. I guess while we're dumping, we might as well dump it. And I need to go through all this stuff, too, so I need slightly more space. Well, dump. When in doubt, we're going to dump. And I'm going to reorganize after the dump. This is going to be a big pile of just stuff. Yeah, there it goes. That's dumped. Dump, dump, dump. That's what we do around here. We dump. Look at that dump. Okay, so audio, like synthesizer stuff does not get dumped because these are expensive modules. This represents a very large amount of money, so I'm gonna go put this over here. This goes over in a nice safe spot where we're not dumping. Because we're gonna dump. Why does he keep saying it like that? Dump. True story, that's worth something in 30 years if the VW isn't rotted out by then. The VW is rotted out and it's gone. It does not exist. Well, I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist anymore. We sold it a long time ago. Long time ago. Another place, another time. High voltage kicker is its own project and it is very organized and it's currently still active. So I'm putting that one to the side as well. Although I guess it probably goes over here. Outside of the dump. Okay, so let's see. This more project crap. Oh, mineral spirits. Where have you been? Big piece of carbon fiber. This stuff, whatever the hell this is. Oh my God. It's everywhere. The pile of cardboard grows. There's the pile of cardboard organizers. Let me bring you guys over to the BTS cam and brighten this other one up a little bit. Let's make this one a little bit more active. Properties on that. Focus control. Oh, I don't have any controls. What? What the hell? Wait a minute. I don't have any controls over it. Is it so far away that it doesn't know? Wait, is it currently? Hello? Oh, it froze. Oh, okay. That one froze. That's a frozen camera. There we go. Now it's back. Welcome back, frozen camera. Let's configure you. Oh, it doesn't recognize it. It doesn't recognize it. The Stream Deck can't do anything with it. I'll have to manually set it. Don't auto white balance. Give me my beautiful 4300. Why is this not? It froze again. It's double frozen. Oh no. Mentioning your feeble laptop reminded me of my own Lenovo IdeaPad, a laptop so slow it struggled to open start menu on Windows 10. That is the state of this one. Yeah, that's exactly it. Take that off. Go to 43. Here we go. There we go. 43. Focus. Woo, we should move it in a little bit. I'm going to take off autofocus for sure. Auto exposure. Let's get that back. There we go. And then I think that's pretty good. Looks a little bit too yellow. That's too blue. That's too yellow. Somewhere in between. Leave it right there. How's that? Okay, cool. Camera's configured. The problem with this camera is that its USB socket is, for the extension, is sitting under this pile right here. So as that pile grows, so too shall the instability of my camera's connection. On air light, you can go over here. This piece of plastic. We need to make a housing for this thing. Why? This is way too yellow. What's going on here? I don't think there's much I can do about it. Let's get the stuff out of the way of this camera, though, because there's significant piles to be made. It would be kind of irresponsible for me to just dump this right in the middle here. But that's what I'm going to do. Oh my god, oh dear god. There's a certain catharsis in just dumping all this stuff out. I want to keep this together, though. Nothing to her. Hello, Allison. Aisle 10, aisle 10. Why is that song suddenly in my head? Whenever I stream, I get songs stuck in my stupid brain. This router is hopefully going to become a router project. A CNC, rather. All right, I'm going to move these specifically over to the milling machine because there's the other motor sitting there. That's quote-unquote organized. We'll put big finger quotes around that. What you guys saying over there? Asthma jingles while dumping. That's all the screws finding their way. Time to put Coldplay on in the background. Yeah, don't get caught. Because it was... This is what, did that bring up memories of a song? Brains are weird. Brains are weird. That's a camera part. That's also a camera part. Why? Why is this here? Why is there a fidget spinner? I do not like fidget spinners. Why is there one sitting right here? I may be fidgety, but I don't like fidget spinners. The pile grows. What's chat doing? Think I'm going to install Linux on the crappy laptop to try and eke out a better performance from it. That is the way to go. I would put Linux on this laptop. It's just that this laptop also programs my car. So specifically, it can be real dumpy and slow as long as it runs some form of Windows in order to communicate on the COM port. This will not dump. I'm not going to dump this. This is all of the oh bother emotes that were sent to me. This is a manic amount of printing, and if I ever get my ass to a convention, I guess I'll be handing out bother emotes, but I'm just not popular enough for that. Not cool enough for that. But this thing is, listen, I stacked this very carefully. I very carefully stacked this. It is full of the emote. This is an absolutely, like, this is mental illness is what this represents. It's a whole case of ammunition, yeah, for the emote thrower. We gotta make that thing work. The emote thrower, the 100-volt charge up emote flicker needs to happen. This is like 30 to, well, probably $100 sitting right here in these modules that I'm not using. This represents a 1,000 watt power supply that I was gonna water cool. 1,000 watts at 12 volts. Need to get back to this, but the problem is these circuit board projects are getting a little hairy given the current tariff situation. Oh my god, no! Okay, well that stuff all spilled out. Onto the floor. Onto the floor. Get your ass back over there. Alright. Most of it. Okay, we got one more box. It's like an LED, etc. box. Here we go. With the Raspberry Pi and everything. It all just gets dumped. And we'll sift through it and try to pull out anything that's useful. I got this whole thing of acrylic paint to try to learn airbrushing a little bit more so I could paint some of these 3D prints that I've been doing, the fancier ones, and it's still just sitting here because I don't have space to work with it. This is my space. All right, that goes there. We got another. I've got many more bins that need to be sifted through. I don't know about dumping all the wire stuff. Maybe we just organize this bin into a new one. I have the slightest version of musical Tourette's, where every time I hear a song or lyrics, the song starts playing in my head. I wouldn't call that Tourette's, because the same thing happens with me. If I recognize a phrase from a song, it can put the whole song in my head for years. Years. It's an affectation. I don't think it's, maybe it is mental. Maybe it is. Maybe I should rethink my attitude on that one. So we have a whole pile of crap now. Let's start organizing this one and put it into a new bin. It'll still be a Tired Hands. These are good. Tired Hands is a really good brewery around here. They don't have as many of their milkshake beers anymore. When they did, those were absolutely delicious. And I actually went there with Uo's Lab when he was in town. He was like, I'm going to be in your area. What are you doing? And so we ended up, I was like, we got to go to this brewery. Like, there's no questioning it. We're going here. You guys are kind of low to the table. I know it might be hard to see like what I'm doing. Basically just throwing all the stuff into a bin is most of the MO here. This stuff, what is this for? This is a audio pipe primary wire premium. It's not premium cable. It's cable primario. You know what? I best be wiping dust while I do this. I'd better be wiping dust. ABW is what the kids say, right? Always be wiping. I'm always wiping. Oh my God, there's just crap everywhere in this shop. I'm getting very fed up with my entire existence right now. It's just, what do you do? I exist in spite of this giant pile of crap. In spite of, and maybe primarily against, the pile of crap. This is one of the better $40 purchases that I've ever made that I don't have any use for. Tiny chainsaw. It probably could use a nicer motor. It's probably using just a universal DC motor in there, but it is a tiny little chainsaw. And maybe one day I will tape this to a pole and actually do some yard work with it. But until then, I just have a little chainsaw and nothing to use it on. I haven't done a thing with it though. That's the weird, I just haven't done anything with it. What am I going to do with a little chainsaw? The chainsaw historically was invented for medical purposes, which is shocking to think of, but it's basically a chain with depth guides and cutting elements. So the cut is always a particular depth so that it can rapidly sort of gnaw its way through stuff. But it was originally for severing limbs, which is a horrible thing to think about. Wasn't it? No, was it for C-sections? I forget. It was a horrible thing. The finger sander is a bit more civilized, and I haven't had any use for that either. One of these days I'll get the rust out of my car and I'll need this. But I was looking around at battery-operated tools, and this thing stuck out as a must. These new batteries, the 20-volt batteries that everything takes now, are pretty good. They're pretty good. I never thought that batteries would really rival gas-operated systems, but they do. Put a little motor in everything. Finger sanders are great. I haven't had an opportunity to do anything with it yet. One of these days, what's his name? This old Tony did a whole thing about the belts on them. The whole thing on the belts of the finger sanders and how they're too expensive and yada yada. I just haven't had anything. I haven't had a single thing to do with them. This is a roll of Velcro. Do I put that with the wiring still? I guess. And of course, these premium wires, these are the multicolor wires that I wired up the brew controller with. They're just very cheap audio wire. I don't know if I'd trust them in any application that wasn't indoor. and super clean. What's going on with this? I need to re-spool this one. The silicon jacketed wires, while they are nice and premium and flexible and all that stuff, they don't have any friction, and so they don't store very well. I'm not sure how to really like store them so that they don't unravel. Because you can't just fold it under one layer. You have to like tape it down, do all this other stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. This, God, so many memories in this thing. I'm looking at this wire bin, and in this wire bin there is the bags of glow-in-the-dark powder that I bought. I thought that I would be able to print stuff and then glue the glow-in-the-dark powder into the print and make text glow-in-the-dark and jump out. And I remember I had a heated argument with one of my viewers about this. They were insistent that I wasn't... that this would have been the best idea ever, and I'm telling them it's not, and they're not believing me, and I'm like, I have the glow-in-the-dark powder, and I tried it. I tried mixing it with ultraviolet epoxy, and I tried putting that epoxy into a relief on a print, and it didn't work as well as I thought it would. It didn't work at all, actually, so this represents just a mistake. Plus, I think the glow-in-the-dark stuff gets less and less effective as time goes on, so this is a pile of garbage. This is expensive garbage, too. This is, I think, like $40. Sucks. But that's the way she goes in the shop. Just the way she goes. How many thousands could you spend on Milwaukee packouts for this gear? A lot. So another project that I've wanted to work on, and it's literally just I need to hook it up and test, is I bought a car winch for like $75. I bought a car winch, and this would be for in the garage. I need to lower car wheels down from where they're mounted because they're mounted above the garage door, and getting a ladder over there is kind of a pain, and I don't want to lower the wheels and like throw them down, and I want to be able to get them back up alone. So I have this car winch, or more like a go-kart winch, and two of the adapters for the 20-volt sockets. So I'm thinking I can put two of those batteries in parallel on the winch, and if they've got enough power, I can raise and lower stuff using a cable winch. I think that'll work. I think that'll work out. I just need to wire it up. I've got all the stuff sitting on this table, but the table is rather a little bit crazy right now. It has been a tumultuous month this month. There's been a lot of dumb stuff going on. So is the 3-bin sorting system. First, I know of what it's for. Second, I might keep. Third, away it goes. This is like the 16 to 20 bin sorting system at this point, which is why it's all getting dumped onto the sorting table and then reorganized back into the bin with a bunch of garbage being thrown out alongside. We've gotten past the sort of zones of knowing what something is, or knowing what I put this thing aside for. And that gets like that. When you do variety projects, they tend to get away from you. There's stuff in here that I don't even know about. And we haven't even gotten to actually the real projecty bins. There's a couple bins that are sitting over there that we need to get to. We'll do that. I mean, we'll eventually get there. I've also got my bathroom sink faucet sitting in another bin on that area because there was nowhere else to put it. So it's gotten out of hand. So I'm just respooling these so that they're not as chaotic as they were before, but folding the wire in underneath itself and tightening is not as effective on these silicon wires. I'm going to do that for now, but just because I don't have any other option. These are the wire spools that will not die. This blue wire, the blue wire and the red wire and the green wire, I don't know where I bought this stuff, but it just won't die. I've got a couple spools of these. I tried to put rubber bands on it, but I think these rubber bands are deteriorating. Yeah, they're gone. How does that happen? Why does that happen? the rubber bands were old to begin with, and then I put them on these spools, and then they just disintegrated. And in some cases, those rubber bands actually disintegrated and left behind some weird kind of silicon rot that was very annoying to clean off. All right, fold it under once, and then tighten. Go. So this stuff, actually, this one might be silicon. There's a couple of these spools that just are infinite. I have always existed and I always will. Some of these are from wire kits that have expired, like one color, and then I've taken them out and just put them in the loose wire bin. That's what I think this green stuff is. I'll come over and read chat in just a sec. Sorry, guys. Gonna be a lot of getting up and sitting down today. There's that one. This is another infinite spool, but this rubber band is, of course, turned into soup. Ugh, gross. Yeah, these two are like never-ending spools. I don't know what to do with them these days. This is more of the premium wire. I don't know if this stuff will be good for burning the subs. Maybe for power wiring and burn the subs. I need thinner silicon stuff to do the burn the subs wiring. These were a sort of a knee-jerk purchase to get the brewing table done. Which they were good for that project, but they're just not useful outside of it. Fold under. Oh, I am never going to be winding a motor on this scale. That's just not happening. It's no small wonder that that wire's still in there. Oh, this is, so if you ever need, which I haven't, but if you ever need some small shielded differential pair wiring, take apart a DVI cable. Because I have DVI cables coming out of my pooper because I've had so many different configurations of my desks, and I've needed to buy wires for that, and then I take up streaming, and suddenly that requires every wire in the entire house, and so I've got a lot of spare cables sitting around. So the DVI cables have these differential pairs that are shielded, which is quite good if you need it. If you need it, you need it. This stuff is crazy. This stuff is crazy. This is for like wiring speakers flush to the wall. It's just a flat thing with 4 conductors in it, and they're thick. They're really thick conductors. So this also is a tape. It's also adhesive on the back. So if you're about to paint your room and you want to run speakers up the wall, this stuff can really help, and you can paint over it. I haven't had any other use for it. It just sits in the wiring bin, taking up space. Let me go check chat. See, we're already finding weird stuff. That was from 3D printer project. Already finding weird stuff. Table sort. I heard that'll. Oh yeah, isn't that a programmer thing? We're sorting tables. We're not dropping tables. We're not going to do that. Weird stuff. I don't know. I actually just have nothing for this. This is 4 conductors, so it's got the USB color to them, but it's so old. I think it came from an old shop that wasn't mine, and I just never have a use for it. It's 4 conductors that are tightly spiraled with each other. I might have used it once, but beyond that, I just don't have any use for this. Crazy. It's a weird relic of a time long since past. What do you... Yeah, more of this stuff. Okay. More little bins of wires. This is not a good bin. What am I ever going to do with this stuff? Am I ever going to have a use for it? This would be like a car battery level of current. If I'm ever going to be wiring up a car battery, I'll need this spool. I'll be sure to remember that that's there for my car. An empty bin is a happy bin. This one is full of trash. Put it over there. Okay. The co-working tab? What is that? The twerking tab? You mean the other camera view? Oh, sharing work, studying? Well, we're going through science and technology stuff. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could categorize this into work and studying, but I don't know how many viewers are in work and studying. Would it give me a significant amount? Probably not. Sci and tech, I moved from like crafting. IRL just chatting. That's true. I could probably do that. But I won't, because I'm lazy. Let's see. Audience, everyone. Well, it's got IRL in the tag for science and tech. Content classification. I have to disclose it's not for certain viewers. You're not sure you want the demographic? Well, I see. I haven't dipped my toes into those categories ever. Sorry, I'm spooling as I'm talking to you guys. We are technically doing science and tech because we're going through the dregs of my science and tech. This black wire is much longer, meaning it probably unspooled more than once. I'm going to just wrap it around again. Yeah, there we go. Where else are you going to get your valve content, right? I'm looking at a valve right now. Hold on, I'm trying to get this thing around here and tight so that it doesn't unspool and ruin my day. All right, wire bin. I think that's pretty much the wire bin. If we find any more spools of wire, it'll go in the wire bin, but the wire bin's going on the shelf now. As a success, hopefully. And this finger sander, I don't know where to put. I don't have a space for it. Where is this going? I don't know, can you just put it right here. Sticking up like a middle finger. Okay, the mess. The big, dumb mess. Hey, 3D Printer Shack, how's it going? The other week I designed and 3D printed a spool because I bought 5 meters of 1mm heat shrink and it came all bundled up. That's crazy. What if you find bundles of wire? Or do those wires belong in some kind of meter gizmo? What? Huh? Bundles of wire. I have all kinds of bundles of stuff that we need to get through. Let's see. Can I change my category? Huh, it's funny over here. I have to close the other one and search for the other one. Let me see here. Let's just try the just chatting. See what happens. There, now we're just chatting. Yeah, there are more bundles of wire. The computer wires, and I don't know if I want to keep them or not. Do I keep these or do I throw them out? Let's get a garbage bin. So this one will be the garbage bin. Oh my God, what the heck? Who farted? What's going on over there? Was that just a fart? Yeah, it was just a fart. Okay. Yeah, good Lord. Okay, let's start getting through some of this stuff. So the 3D prints for the 3D printer. These are body pieces for the 3D printer. I held on to these for a long time. I have not needed them. edits that I've done to the 3D printer have been reliable enough so that this thing has not broken on me. And these are PETG. These are like super strong. So I don't need these. These are getting thrown out. You know, I had extra parts just in case stuff went wrong. It was kind of a little bit harrowing to design the entire 3D printer and then 3D print with the 3D printer and then put all those designs into effect. It was a weird process because if you need to iterate, you just can't. This is a camera viewfinder hinge. This is from the viewfinder from a camcorder. Its existence is shocking. Why do I still have this? It basically has two little snaps that are very fluid. They feel very nice, and then it has this pivot piece on the end. I don't have anything to do with this. Why do I have this? It's just like a little mechanical fidget toy. This is why I don't need a fidget spinner, right? Why do you exist? You're trash. You go in the trash. My Radeon card end for the water cooling specifically with an RGB LED. Absolutely trash. No, that's going in the garbage. That's not something that I need to save. Oh, a ring that goes around a pump, I think, for water cooling. It's got an EKWB logo on it. Hey, how's that company doing? Electric valve that I had nothing to do with. Let's start a bin for stuff like that, industrial stuff. Because I've also got an industrial button that's sitting over here. Too much. It's all falling off of the table now because we made a big pile. That camera's not staying put because it's unscrewing itself. It is in a perpetual state of undoing its own self. You could resell Oh Bother collectibles. Collectibles. That would be a thing, huh? Welcome to the Bother collection. The piece of wood, it's Burn the Subs. I think we're calling it 3.0. Because there's two, yeah, what's the thing on the wall? That is called Burn the Subs. It is a giant XY gantry. Move the on-air light. This is an XY gantry that holds a laser cart, and we've actually done a whole lot of 3D printing in order to get this thing up and going. It is not working right now. It will be. I will eventually get this thing working again. We're doing some work on it over there on the bench. And what this is designed to do is take the names of subscribers to my channel and burn their names onto itself. How come the on-air light's off? I guess because of time elapsed. So automated, out of my control. It will receive a name from a Node-RED flow and then turn that into a randomly located block of text. It basically builds the whole board every time it looks for a spot. And when it finds a spot, it will then register that in the database, and then it will burn the name onto the board automatically. So like if I'm distracted, you might miss your name, but that's what this camera would historically do is basically I'd move that camera in order to view the board. That's why its settings are kind of weird. It's sort of calibrated for the large amount of light over here. This is the back panel from my computer. We mapped out where all the stuff was and then 3D printed it. Pretty cool, but also garbage. Extension cables, power extension cables for the computer. I don't want to throw these out, but I also don't know where to put them. Yeah, I can't throw these out. No. These are too important. Among all of the cables that I have, these are too important. They should go somewhere, because if I'm troubleshooting a computer and I want to not have the power supply up in my face, or if it's been, cable organized to within an inch of its life, I can use these in order to extend them. But then again, I'm missing a bunch. And when have I ever needed to do that? I'm calling it. They're getting thrown out. Garbage. Bracket for a round bottle. Garbage. Tube. Silicon. Short. It's an exercise aid. Garbage. Tube, silicon long, not garbage. Yeah, this is the black tube that I use in the computer. I want to keep this around. 3D print, garbage. Back panel for my motherboard. That's a keep. I don't know why. I'm never going to need it, and the motherboard's going to be obsolete by the time I rotate it out and want to put it into another machine. I don't think it'll get there. I don't think I'll do that. So do I technically need a back panel? And whatever machine it rotates onto is not going to need a back panel anyway. Garbage. I'm calling them like I sees them. Radeon back panel, that's actually a keep. Just in case I want to de-water cool my Radeon, which is possibly in its life cycle. Motherboard greebles, this is just a heatsink. Gone, gone. I've got a bunch of electronic valves in this bin. Maybe these should get their own bin. Or they can go with the water cooling stuff. I can put those with the water cooling stuff. The water cooling stuff has taken on its own life. It's got a different bin. Yeah. How's it going over here? So I'm divorced from chat. I'm over at the other bench, trying to get some kind of semblance of cleanity into my shop. I need to clean up. It's gotten real bad out here. The goal is to eventually be able to see the table. Because the last time Julian came here, it was like a month ago, I wasn't able to set him up to do music stuff. It was because this table is full of crap. Because I moved all of my project bins out of where they are. They've gotten too disorganized. And so we're going through the remnants of projects of yore and aggressively organizing everything. Aggressively. No more shall this be disorganized. Okay, so electronic valves and stuff should go with water cooling, but it seems like there's a lot of watery, cooling-y stuff sitting over here that maybe we need to kind of go through more. It seems like a bunch of different things. I expect child support. You have to take that up with a judge. All right, my cable's getting all wrapped up and stuff. All right, so let's get a bin for watery, cooling-y kind of stuff. Bam. Let's start that off. So I got, this is just like a 12-volt valve. You just put power to it, and then it cranks itself open or closed, and it's actually fairly useful. I don't have any uses for it, though. This one is for operating a piston. This is actually, which one is this? This is old. It's getting real crusty. Yeah, this is for operating a piston. Oh, the diagram for the valve's actually on the valve itself. What does that even mean, though? Yeah, so if you've got the front and the back airline on a piston, you put pressurized air into one end of this thing, and when you charge the valve, it flips over. And I think this is not a momentary. I think when you put power to the valve, it'll flip, and then it'll stay flipped. So it's for operating a piston. This thing comes in handy every now and then. Every now and then, I'm like, oh, let's mess with a piston. This is just a straight up in-out valve. 12 volt DC, huh? 100% ED. Oh, I don't want that. So electronic valves in here. And then maybe if I've got other airline parts, this is water cooling stuff. So this goes with this goes in another place. Yeah, this is what we're doing today. We're organizing. I've needed to do this for quite some time, and I've been putting it off. You guys are my, I don't know what to call it, my motivation. Put this over here, this over here, and then we just put stuff in it as I find it, because I'm finding water cooling stuff in some of these other areas. Now, do I keep this 3D print? This is the cooler for the laser of Burn the Subs, the thing that's sitting right over there. But I have it printed in a different material. I use the SLA printer to print it, which is watertight. So do I keep the old 3D print? No, no, almost universally no. I need to make sure that I'm getting rid of the stuff that no longer does anything. What in the hell is this? This is some kind of like a keyboard connector? Why did I keep this? What is this? Let's look at this with a microscope. Hold on a sec. Let's take a closer look. Closer look at this crap that I've for some reason held on to. Oh, this will definitely come in handy at some point. You know, you never know when you need something like this. Do you have fiber internet? Yes. We recently got super upgraded. They forced an upgrade on us, and that got me 2 gigabyte speeds. And then I had to tear my connection out of the wall and replace it with Cat 6 cable, which is like way more shielded. And that way I've got like full speed going to the router. So yeah, my internet has been upgraded. TDAC was where I worked in the FBI. Terrorist Device Analysis Committee, something like that. Center, there we go. TDAC, Terrorist Device Analysis Center. This, however, what am I doing with this? What is this? What is this? Team X5 worked on this. Localized for one of the big names? No, it's a big name, but it's not AT&T. We have a Verizon here. They're not great. I wish it was a local provider. Local providers are so much better. Oh, it's Panasonic. So this is from the camcorder then. This is from the camcorder that somebody sent in, and we took it apart. I don't know why I still have that part for it. Old miniature hex bits. Do I really need to keep that? I mean, I've got a whole set sitting over there. And they're not really that universal sometimes. This will go in the back of a drawer. This goes in the back of a tool drawer. Which drawer will it go in? Let's just put it in there with this. The other set of screwdriver bits that I have. I seem to be collecting universal screwdrivers. Whoa, my microphone. A rare view of me clipping the microphone to my belt. AT&T requires customers to use the crappy ONT and router. Yes, yeah, that same. I've been spending way too much time looking into how you can bypass them. Somebody was talking about that on the Discord, and apparently there's a family of devices that you can buy that fake being the other router and allow you to have control once again. How's it going, Law and Dog? Universal screwdrivers, definition is they fit nothing universally equally as well. There's the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 of an inch bits, right? That was you. Okay, yeah. Verizon lets you just plug into the ONT, really? Oh, I would like if they could run the fiber to my house, like directly in, like Fatanon has. He got his provider, which was a local provider, to provide a direct connection straight up to the house. That would be so awesome if I could convince them to do that. Because, yeah, I'd rather have more control over what my internet is doing and get the speeds. But then again, to stream, I don't really need the speeds that much. This is the power supply for my old computer. It is also a shoe-in for the current one. Actually, no, the current one just uses the regular power supply. People are always shocked at my computer project. The computer project it basically relies on this board. And there's a whole family of these. They're higher wattage ones now. But this is a 150 watt computer power supply for something like, a car computer, if you wanted to put an entire ATX motherboard in your computer. Now, this is something that they've only just recently started to settle on, is that they wanted to have computers universally use just 12 volts. I came to that conclusion on my own, working with computer stuff and trying to build little tiny computers. Like, why do we have all these volts here? The graphics card uses a ton of 12 volts. The motherboard uses a little bit of 12 volts, and then it also has its own CPU connector for 12 volts. And then all your cards and stuff sometimes will have an external connector that'll have 12 volts on it. So why don't I just make 12 volts for the whole computer? So that's where this comes in. This sold for car computers. It's 160 watts. It'll provide the 3 volts, the negative 12 volts, all those weird voltages that are required for an ATX computer, and it's small. It's this tiny little board. And that's what I would use in the power supply project. I would make a buttload of 12 volts with something like this. Some of these modules are one of them creates 300 volts, the others create 12 volts, and it can handle 1,000 watts of 12 volts. And then I use this thing to make all the motherboard voltages, and that's the computer project. That's how I was able to fit a very small power supply for a very powerful computer. Now, I guess that's going to get its own bin, but we'll probably have to share the functionality with a couple other things, so I'll put that there. Yeah, things like whatever the hell this was. I think that's a CPU bracket. That gets thrown out. So we'll put this bin over here, and that'll be, hopefully, we'll have more stuff to go in there. Let me read chat real quick. Jump on over to chat and see what they're talking about. Yeah, 12, 12 and a half, 5, 3.3, negative 12. What lovely chaos. I make myself right at home, if that's all right. Yeah, it's a chaos stream. We're kind of rooting through the pile. And I have a couple more bins that I need to dump out onto the pile too. I think the rental mobile home I'm in has fiber directly into the house. Damn, that's crazy. You have fiber to the curb. I don't have fiber to the curb. I wish I did. I don't know what we have. Actually, I haven't. I could go look. I know you can't bypass all the Verizon equipment if they run it to your house because you can't buy your own ONT that works with a weird fiber standard they use. Oh, I see. Yeah, so I don't have that. I don't think I have, you know, I have whatever crappy thing they have, but it's giving me 1 up and 1 down. A gig up and a gig down. I get approximately half of that though. It's not amazing. It's good enough. That's garbage. These fan connectors and stuff, while useful, I have a bin that's full of them. Like top to bottom. If a project needs a fan, I'm gonna buy an Noctua just because I don't wanna beat around the bush and deal with broken fans, right? So I buy an Noctua, I put it in, and it's quiet and it cools things just enough. Great. But that means that all of those extra cables that come with the Noctuas float around, and so I end up with a lot of like fan extender cables and stuff like that, to the point where I am no longer keeping them. I am throwing them out. I hate throwing them out like that, but that's just the way it's going. Oh, this is for one of the linear rail carts. These are extra bearings and the loading and unloading tool, the piece of plastic that you put the cart on and off with. So this is a burn the subs part, but it's an industrial thing. I guess I'll put it with industrial things. That's how we're going to organize that. Clear button from a CD DJ mixer of yore that I had 1 unit of because the other one broke, and it's got these beautiful clear buttons that I would like to use somewhere someday. Why is it in this? Why is it here? Why is it here? I'm going to throw that sort of vaguely in that direction and hope that it eventually finds its way. All the little rubber footies that come with the Noctua fans, those are all garbage. I'm not dealing with that crap anymore. No way. Not again. All these weird things that are on the desk right now are all trash. This must have been from, I don't really know actually. Unknown bolts. Oh boy, wonder where those go. This is like a computer bin, I guess, for the power supply project, but I put that one on mothballs because everything is expensive. Everything is expensive. Vaguely water cooly kind of stuff I'll put with the valves. These are aluminum blocks that you can get on Amazon for real cheap, and you can water cool stuff with the aluminum blocks. The only problem is the radiators that you get are copper. Copper and aluminum in a water cooling setup, and I didn't think this would be a thing, but apparently they create such a strong half cell reaction that they immediately start to corrode. There's no delay in the corrosion that occurs. I genuinely don't know what these are. Two little pieces of plastic that go on something. Well, they're weirdly curved. Let's see if we can figure this one out. Oh, I just need to get the remains of some stuff. Fan screws, a nozzle for something. That's all garbage. We're not looking back. We may regret some of the things that we've thrown away today, but we're not going to allow ourselves to grieve for these thrown out things. Like a half a RAM cooler is gone. A backup camera that I never put on a drone, gone. That's an entire camera you just threw out. Yes, it is. Welcome to our modern lives, full of garbage that should, by all means, be repurposed to function. But I can't. I just can't. It's too much, too overwhelming. I just, my mic cable just got caught. All right, come on, mic cable. Jeez. Okay, I'm free. Let's look at these plastic. Oh, I'm not free. God damn. Son of a bitch. Okay, I'm free. You guys can't see the struggles, but this cable gets caught in the stool. Yeah, it's the half cell reaction is what causes things to rust. The ions move from one metal to the other. And there's a whole table that you can look up for how reactive particular metals are with one another. I saved rubber feet for some reason too. I have a drawer full of them. Yeah, I also... You say Noctua like Hawktua. God damn it. I have an entire drawer filled with the stuff that I just threw out. Right? This is not the only source for little rubber greebles that come with stuff. Because the Noctuas come with all kinds of stuff associated with them. I have a big clear bin that's filled with them. So this is not going to limit my own personal supply of these things at all. All right, what the hell are these things? These are on thin ice, whatever they are. Thin ice. What? Huh? C2, C1. C1 and C2. What in the... What? It's just like a weirdly bent plastic. Are these for a monitor stand? Like the cable organizer that goes behind a monitor? They're weirdly asymmetrical though. Very weirdly asymmetrical. You'll need the specific size you threw out. I think I've got extras of that size. It's possible because I think those are from a 60 millimeter Noctua, which is a weird size in and of itself. I do the same thing Sunday. I have a serious illness with not being able to throw anything away. Yeah, that's just this kind of stuff. It's like I say, I'm reluctant to throw it away. Everybody is like that. You just have to be like, no, it's gone. I'm thinking these might be for a joystick. These might clip into a joystick. What's going on over here? I want the drone cam. It's a backup cam, and I had to alter it a little bit. There was a little wire loop that I had to break in order to not have it mirror image, because it was mirror imaged for some reason. So I had to break that little wire end, and then I was going to have it tilt with the drones flying so that I could have a POV camera on the drone. I never got around to it. What I really should have done is get that drone like flying at all and then flown it. I should have actually gone outside and flown it. So I got approved for Ozempic. I'm going to start taking that stuff. These GLP-1s that I actually have been taking since Victoza back in the day. I have been approved to get back on those drugs, Hopefully that will lead me to not eating as much, and then in time weight loss perhaps. This is night vision goggle mount that I got sent a bunch of from an eBay seller who didn't know what they were. These are for nods. You put your night vision goggles on this thing, and then if you run into something, they'll just fall out of the mount because it's like a big ball mount. I don't have any more of it though, and I don't know if I should keep something like this because I don't have any use for it. It's fairly cheap though. This is like airsoft level of equipment, but apparently that's what the real thing is like. There's a little push lock on the side. I don't really have any use for this, and it's do I throw it out though? Yeah, yes I do. Yes I do. I need to make that decision on the fly. High temperature pump. This is what I used to use for burn the subs. Put that with the valve stuff. This is the garbage bin, by the way. The garbage bin. Okay, long piece of silicone tubing we can keep. We'll put that with the pumps and stuff. Actually, that should go behind me with the water cooling stuff, along with this piece of silicone tubing too. Oh, and there's some valves over. Oh God, there's a whole bunch of weird stuff. These are parts from the Keurig that we took apart. There are some unique little lengths of hose here that are getting thrown. This is the. I can't keep this in good conscience if I'm throwing out all that other stuff. Yeah, these are like filters and valves from the Keurig. Keurig. This is from the other Lone Star sent me a hard drive recorder, and like a production one, and it had these SSD caddies on it. Oh, this is actually a useful part. It had these SSD caddies, and so I kept one of them. I don't think I really need that at all, but the SSD caddy would have been useful if I wanted to like make a computer that would take an SSD in a little like ejector drive. I have that now though. I bought that. They sell them in 5 1/4 drive bay flavor. So this tube goes over here. Oh look, a Raspberry Pi 3. So one of these bins was the Raspberry Pi bin, and I should probably resurrect that bin and not mistake it with the garbage bin. Put some other stuff in there too. Well, actually, Raspberry Pi and power supply sounds like a pretty good grouping of stuff. Backup Raspberry Pi in case Burn the Subs eats its own Raspberry Pi. No, that's garbage. Random stuff. We got to do something with this LED thing too. We went through all the trouble of wiring this up, this whole screen with the Raspberry Pi on it. But Burn the Subs also has its own little screen thing, so I got to figure out what to do with that. There's a lot of very crazy stuff sitting around here, and I don't have a good camera angle on it. Let's go back to the other one. What would the price of the thrown out box be? I don't know. Hold on one sec. Oh my God, I'm drumming up this like ancient dust. A visual thing for the synthesizer. Could be interesting. I don't know how bright that thing is. Those displays were the $7 purse toy. There's like a pink purse that you could buy for $7, and it had this wonderful amount of LEDs on it. But yeah, I got to figure out something to do with this dual screen here, and then also for Burn the Subs, just because I don't want the power supply to sit idle, because the what are they called? Those particular power supplies. What is this? RS-485 can hat. Huh. The Vicor power supplies, the solid state supplies that I have, they can tend to be loud when they're unpowered, which is weird, but that's just the way it is. They can tend to actually make noise when unpowered. We tested our current supply and it does not make any noise when unpowered, so that's good. Oh, a probe for lowering the axis of a milling machine onto. What, huh? I'm gonna keep it. because it's actually, you know, we might use this eventually, I think. I can use it with the little electrical probe that I have, and I don't know where the rest of it is. It's, I think, in a drawer over there. So let's just put that by the milling machine. The arm of the drone that was going to get that camera. I should put this somewhere. These are nice motors. I like these motors. I have counterclockwise and clockwise motors for it too. What to do with something like that? I don't know. I need a designated drawer for that. Why am I buzzing? Motion. People are moving and my cameras can see them. Oh my God, look at all this crap. What am I gonna do? Here's a Raspberry Pi, another one with some kind of a hat on it. Let's get this wire off of it. Oh my lordy. It's just a lot of stuff that I haven't gotten to. Giant lever action roller switch. It's very big indeed. This thing comes out of the foot pedal. Well, we need to get better focus in here, huh? What up, Wonky Robot? What are you doing? Hey, Keeper of Maps, how's it going? Actually, if I focus in further, you guys won't be able to see things far away. Well, let's see here. Properties, configure, camera control. I don't have control over the focus of the camera. What? I didn't know that could happen. Look at this, I just don't have it. It just doesn't let me focus control. What the hell? Huh? Let's try opening that again. Configure video. What? Okay. Apparently, this camera is the furthest from the computer. And it usually works okay. But it can tend to be too far for some of the things that Logitech wants to do with the camera. I don't know why. The Logitech cameras take up a lot of USB bandwidth, and when they get too far away, they start doing stuff like this. A tube bender. This is just a 2-lever tube bender. What do I do with that? Well, that should go with tools of some kind, so that'll go over here by the milling machine, where all my tools apparently are. I still don't know what to do with the thingamajig, with the drone thing. I'm avoiding looking at it. Screens and stuff, I guess, can go with screens and stuff. Big Tree Tech, what are you? Oh, you are a 3D printer controller. What do I do with you? I bought the wrong one, and these were cheap, so I just bought another one instead. But this is a CAN bus controller, which we're not... The laser is so simple, it gets just a TTL signal from the controller. So we're not going to do something like CAN bus. This also has an accelerometer on it, though. But I don't think we need to go so far as to put CAN bus in our printer. So, okay, so if I'm doing LEDs in here, I'm also doing Raspberry Pis in this one. So LED screens can go with themselves. I have 5 of the screens, which is not an even number, which is very irritating. This stuff, this LED string, I would love to do a big project with this, but for now, it is just taking up space. This is older, it's more spaced out. I've done a lot of like LED string kind of projects. I used to have a washers game that would use an Arduino with a piezoelectric sensor in the coffee cans for the washers game, so that when you threw your washer, it would clank against the can, and then we had LED strips in between the cans, and it would send out ripples. It was a very cool little visual display associated with that thing, but I don't know what to do with all of this LED stuff that I've got left over. I had to go and buy speaker wire from a home improvement store because we didn't have wire to wire it up. And so it ended up using speaker wire doubled and tripled up in order to carry the current, because these LED strings are fairly power hungry. We got it working though. We had to get it working. We only had the Home Depot to get to at the festival, so it was a do or die kind of thing. I don't know what to do with these though, and they're getting old. It's starting to discolor. I would love to put them up on the wall, though. That would be kind of cool. These big old strings of LEDs on the wall. I don't know where to mount them, though, for that. Okay, so this gets... I think this goes somewhere else. I don't know where to put it, though. An old 3D printing spool box would be perfect. And that's actually what's sitting under the camera right now. But, I don't know. They were in just an open bin, but it took me too long to get to. No, I should leave the filament in there. If I had an old spool of plastic, I don't have any. I don't have any. And also, I should put some of this rope on, the LED rope on the 3D printer, because the 3D printer could use a visual indicator of how far through the print we are. I need to buy some PLA. I got a day-long print lined up that's a giant fidget, but it'll take nearly a full 1 kilogram spool. Good Lord. You don't have to put it in BTS, but you could. This is the latest thing that I've done. Print Shack is the bridge for my giant nose for my safety glasses. But it works. Code Rushed! How's it going, Code Rushed? Code Rushed is raiding with 6 individuals. Today's... The order of the day is this big pile of bullshit. I'm going through old stuff and I'm figuring out what I'm keeping, which is not going to be a lot. How's it going? What up, Raiders? Welcome. We're cleaning up. It's a cleanup kind of day. I have not been streaming a lot lately. I've had sort of life kick me in the groin a couple times, and I still have the bruises to show. Still got the bruises. There's one right there. Look at that. Beautiful. That was from last week, by the way. Last week. Ridiculous. So, anyway, I haven't been streaming a lot. I didn't stream a lot. So, we're here. We're back. I'm streaming now, and we're cleaning up. I need to go through this giant pile of BS and figure out how to organize it and get it back onto the shelf cleanerlier. That's where we are. All right, so... multi-sized 4-pack of polyamide tape. Why is that even in this pile? This should be over in the drawer with the other tapes. There it is. Done. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm organizing. It's amazing. It's almost like if you pick up a whole bunch of BS and put it back down, you get to call it organized. Big industrial button. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. That goes in here. This camera angle's not that good. What I need is the higher camera angle from the other camera. So we'll go over here. Boink. You guys are on my side. So this RC car. Think about the RC car. Here are all the batteries. We 3D modeled the ever-loving crap out of the WL Toys kit, the RC car kit, and I did little tiny upgrades to the frame and made a bunch of 3D printed parts and wheels and stuff, and it was a lot of fun, but eventually my 3D model just kind of collapsed in on itself. There were so many like little weird errors with it that the whole project basically just stalled and then crashed, and I just stopped working on it. I actually, to the point where I spent like $200 on a professional RC car frame for this size. So now I have all this 3D models and stuff of all this RC car stuff that I could 3D print, but it just turns out to not be worth it, really. Like, because at this size, the suspension doesn't really work the way you think it would. I guess I need to make an RC car bin because I've got a bunch of different containers of RC car parts, but it's very, very frustrating. This represents a large level of frustration on the project end. Sort of a very frustrating time. It's just weird that you could go through something so much and then have it just completely crash down into non-functionality. So yeah, let's make a bin, another bin. This one is for RC car stuff. These bins are not in good shape. They're starting to deteriorate a little bit. Yeah, I guess you'd call that overproduced or something. Mango. All All right, I'm gonna put RC car stuff in here. This is a nasty one. Ugh. Hold on a sec. These are open air containers, so they tend to collect stuff. Huh. D20. What do you guys think I'll roll? We should start a poll. 15, not too bad. Was that? Yeah, 15. Right, anything RC car related is going into this bin, including random plastic tires. I really need like more of a top down with you guys. I can, yeah, you know what? I can put you guys on a tripod. We'll put you guys back on the tripod. That I can get going pretty quick. If I can find the tripod. Where did my tripod go? Where has it gone? Where did you go? Is it under the pile? Ugh. It might be under the pile. Yeah, the tripod is usually sitting around here, so if I'm not seeing it, then it likely is under everything. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Get you guys a little higher up. Ah. You guys over like this. Oh my god. Just don't fall. Whoa, you guys almost fell. You guys are precariously placed, and the cable's coming down right in front of me, which is unfortunate. Just make sure you can actually see everything. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and you will go on to have a wonderful and joyful week. I'm having a pretty good day. Yeah. Why does it look like there's no detail on this camera at all? What's going on with this camera? There's something wrong with this camera. It is getting a lot of very warm light. Make sure our focus is good. I guess that's as far as the focus goes. It might, I also might have just like grease on the lens. I don't know. And then it's not letting me adjust the exposure now. Oh my God. Yeah, this camera is very far away and it's Logitech. So let me add, do I have burn the subs with a frame? I don't. I've got these frames that I can bring in and out, but like here where we've got multiple frames viewing a bunch of different stuff at once. I'll just add the scene onto this. So add scene, and that scene is going to be framed spring arm. Whoa, that's huge. Let's drop that in here somewhere. Just there for now. Just to give you guys an alternative view of what's going on here. It's just the big massive pile of crap that I've got to go through. Actually, this one would be better over here, covering my giant, disgusting body. All right. There you go. Now, I got to be careful, because now I have this wire sitting right here that can drop the camera at a moment's notice. All right, big RC car strut. These have actually been useful in other stuff. The RC car struts we used for the shifter on the big wheel project. And they did a really good job there because they made it feel more premium. Carbon fiber rod. Do we use carbon fiber rod for literally anything? I was going to plug up some holes that were misdrilled on the RC car frame over here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going through that trouble anymore. So I guess those are crap. I paid good money for them too. Mario Kart. I should save this. This is the pan for the Mario Kart, and the project with the Mario Kart was to super duper cheat at Mario Kart Home Circuit. We wanted to cheat our way through Mario Kart Home Circuit by 3D printing stuff and putting a giant motor into Mario Kart Home Circuit. I kind of wish I was more popular because sometimes you could get stuff early if you're going to be like a reviewer for a product. It would be great if I had gotten that early because then I could have struck while the anvil was hot. But unfortunately, it took too long, and yeah, we just got turbo hyper distracted away from it. This is a strut for a steering wheel, and it adds a little bit of damping to it. The problem is that it currently has like bubbles in it, so it damps a little weird. I kind of want to hold on to this just because maybe someday I'll have something that opens and closes too rapidly and I'll need that there. Although a gas strut is probably fine too. 3.5 millimeter audio plug to a perforated prototyping board. I'm inclined to keep this just because as soon as I throw it away, I'm going to need another one. That gets thrown in with synthesizer stuff though. Yeah. Okay. I completely missed. The screen from an adjustable power supply, but nothing else. It has a red, green, and yellow LED to the side. It has a 4-digit display, and it has 4 buttons under the display. As much as I feel that I must keep this, I should throw it out. Let's take a look at what the chips are on it. I got another doodad over here too. I got 2 of them doodads that we can take a look at. Megapixel, what? Oh, and the LED stuff is over here too. What am I doing with the LED stuff? I gotta do something with this crap. Like, it just sits in the shop. Look, I'm putting it right there. I'm putting it right next to my stuff and it's, we can't see what you're holding. Oh, oops, sorry. I'll have to shift myself so that I can actually see. This is what happens when I work on stuff, but I can't see the desk, or I can't see OBS. It's why I need to have like a monitoring setup over there for Julian and Dave when they're doing music stuff, so they can see what's actually being broadcast. I'm actively here sitting looking at my broke Anycubic Cobra Neo printer, trying to decide if I want to fix it or do some jank conversions to it. Turn it into a cutter. I don't know, man. So an ST microchip. Looks like a voltage regulator. This is a voltage regulator that we could have used. It has 3.3 written on it too. Yeah, we needed this for a project at one point, for one of the synthesizer modules. Damn. So it's got its own converter in it. It has some kind of a thingy. I don't know what we're communicating in. What is that? Should I get rid of this or should I try to like utilize it? I don't know. Up, down, set, and okay. Constant voltage, constant current, and output. There's a lovely amount of technology on this thing and it just takes up space because this represents another separate project, right? A jank snap maker? I don't know. I don't know if I should keep this or not. Oh, and it's labeled VCC, TX, RX, and ground. Is this one? This one doesn't have labels. But it's used. I can't keep this. I can't keep holding on. This is a nothing. No, I can't. No, it's going in the garbage. It's thrown. I'm throwing it. I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. Maybe one day I'll need it, but that's not today, so it gets thrown out. I'm keeping these though. The BMW lenses. Where do those go? They're right here. These are the lenses out of my old projector from my car. In my old car, we replaced the headlights, and these are an example of German engineering. Because if you look closely enough. Wait, are these? If you look closely enough on these lenses, they're like wavy. They're not super high quality glass. It's kind of incredible. Maybe that wasn't these. These look pretty optically clear. Well, they're going in the car bin because technically they came off of a car. They are from a car, so they're going in the car bin. USB micro 1 foot. I guess that goes with the cables. That'll go down there. I have a bin full of cables like below me. Where are you guys? So you guys are there. So this is actually the active viewing area. Okay. So we'll put the car bin here. And we'll go through the stuff here. This is a tough one for me to let go. This is a very tough one for me to let go. This is a GoPro mount for a drone. And it's one of these balancing ones. And it has the connector for the GoPro up here. And it works with the ancient GoPro that I have that I don't use for anything. But I don't have any other of the parts for it. So I think it goes. I think I throw this out. I hate myself for it, but I throw it out. That's a tough one. It really is. Video... RC video sender. I guess I keep that. That goes with the cars. GoPro. GoPro is not really a car item, and the battery on it kind of scares me. This is an old GoPro. I mean, it barely does Wi-Fi. I don't know what to do. It's a Hero 3 Plus. The Hero 3 Plus. Could I hook that up to stream somehow? No, because it had like massive amounts of delay. Because it barely does Wi-Fi, because it's garbage. Stick with the drone. This thing, it's I don't know what to do with this. It's so old. Goes with the RC car stuff. Fine. This is a burn the subs part. This is the error PCB, but I don't have any strong uses for it. I guess we keep it because it's part of burn the subs, so that automatically goes way over there to be recategorized. I don't know what this is. LM386, some kind of a communication thing, but it is a PCB, and so that'll go with my electronics stuff, which is way over there. Yeah. Okay. 12-volt common plus V2, common plus V1, V1 and V2, 5 volts and 12 volts. Maybe that goes with the Raspberry Pis, I guess. I don't know. That defies categorization. This is a video receiving screen. This is what my friend used with his drone, and he gave me his drone. We already took apart the drone and kind of parted it out. But as a dinky little screen that I can send video to, I guess it does have its merits. But it really is, this is really flimsy. I don't know. I'll put it with the RC car stuff just because we've got kind of onboard video stuff going on in the bin that's right in front of me. What? Tip ring shield to USB micro. What the I think it's video stuff. I think that's what these are. There's some cursed cables here. I guess we'll keep it with the video stuff because I think that's what it's for. I think this thing has, yeah, it has AV out on it, and it's done with like a weird proprietary TRRS plug. That's a strange one. Someone out there decided to send video on USB Mini, and I think they should be punished for that. Random threaded rods from the shifter project. Those go in scrap. This is a heat pipe. This is designed, it's basically got a vacuum in it, and if you heat up one end, all of the vacuum stuff evaporates, and then it what do you call it, condenses at the other side of the tube, where it then releases heat. So it condenses because the other side of the tube is now, well, it's, the bubbling action removes energy, and then it's placed on the other side. So it's a type of active passive cooling that works better than just a piece of copper. Oh, this is that lens thing. What do we do with that? And I've got various like power supplies sitting over here. The power supply should go with, well, I guess that can go with the RC car because it's got RC car connectors on it. Heat pipe and this stuff, this is scrap. So that'll go with the scrap bin. Hot pepper seeds, what the heck? Pueblo, what is it? Moscow. Huh. I'm getting rid of that. Those are like 2 years old. I got all these camera things. This was fascinating. Here, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this thing that I just found. That gets thrown out. These are going to scrap. Jeez, there's just a lot of stuff. I'm utterly buried in random nonsense. The Meanwhile supply is probably good for modular synths. I guess I've got like a better power supply. Basically, you want to start with 15 volts and go to power converters. And so I've mixed a couple power converters in order to make the supplies for both of my modular synth setups. And then the modular synth tester setup, the power supply in this thing is actually using USB-C. So this will communicate with USB-C and request 15 volts that it then puts into the 12 and 5 and negative 12 supply. But yeah, I mean, that power supply would probably be pretty good for modular stuff. I don't really have any use for it. This thing is crazy. This little guy right here, crazy. If this is what I think it is this the part that I think it is? I think so. Yeah, this is an early LCD display for a viewfinder in a camera. And it uses this weird setup, I think, unless this is something else. Hold on a minute. I don't know how to send that thing video, but it's got this really weird, like split lens on it. Did we ever look at that? Yeah, I think we did. Did we take this? I guess I didn't take this part apart because these little springs would never survive on my watch. They would never ever survive. But I think I snapped the board out. Yeah, here we go. So it's got this sort of weird, I don't know what it's doing, man. I don't know how that thing possibly works. Are we focusing on the little square? And maybe the lens is there to backlight it or to front light the reflective display. Maybe that's what's going on. So it needs to put light in there, and so it does it from the front. And then that curved lens is giving you an even spread of light on this chip that would then display the stuff that you're looking at in your camcorder. Very weird. Very, very weird. How does this orient? Oh, is it side lit? I guess it's side lit. Begone, side lit. Yeah, fascinating. I would love to be able to operate this thing at some point. No idea how I'd be able to. It looks like there's pads that you could potentially solder to. There's a lot of them. How many? It's a lot of pins for the connector too. 2, 4, 6, 8. It's a 10-pin connector. So who knows where those 10 pins are supposed to go? But this is Sony in like the early 90s or whatever. It's a really high technology kind of setup. Oh my God, I can feel the dust in the back of my throat. The other thing we have is this little camera lens. And what this camera lens has on it is this little door that's deployable. And the door has the infrared cutting filter. That's why you get kind of a red reflection off of it. It is basically cutting out the infrared portion of the spectrum because it shows up as blue on a camera. You want to cut it out so that it doesn't affect your histogram of colors coming in from the camera. It'll cause your color correction to go all over the place. So this has that filter that's deployable because this is a pervert camera. This camera is designed to have that infrared piece able to be pulled away in order so that it can view stuff at night better. So you're not cutting out all the infrared. Now, every camera that's designed not to be perverted has one of those filters on it. Even the front-facing camera of your phone has it. People say, oh, test the TV remote with your phone. The TV remote is actually an amazingly efficient infrared flashlight. You just can't see that infrared through anything. You think it's super dim because all cameras have those filters on them. When you get something that doesn't have the filter on it, you can see how actually blindingly bright those infrared remotes are. They're fairly bright. The reason your front-facing camera can view it better is because it's a smaller camera. It has less material blocking the infrared. It's still there. It's still there. You can still just barely see the LED on, some kind of a video device. The front-facing camera absolutely still has that filter there. Somebody will always come in and say that it doesn't. It does. It does. They all do. because it's actually quite blindingly bright when you don't have that filter. Man, that's the color temperature on this is not right. Hold on a sec. Is it going to let me adjust it? I can get to the exposure control now. White balance is 42. Let's cool that down a little bit. That's a little dim. We definitely don't need low light compensation. If I do, let's see. Cool it down a little further. I guess that's good. You guys can still see everything. All right. Oh my God, why am I buzzing? Motion alerts. It's all motion alerts today. All right, so back over to the desk over here. I tossed a bunch of little electronic doodads over to the other desk because we're going through what was formerly a dump site of my desktop, and the desktop had a lot of weird stuff on it, like this adapter that I'm never ever going to use. The one time I'll need it, it'll be super important, but I think this is for a radio modem that I no longer have. I don't think I have this radio modem anymore. They were good for telemetry, but this is only good because of the connectors. This would be for modular synthesizer power, an adapter for what would be a very small supply. But the connectors are kind of important. You know what? I think I'm going to toss it though. I don't think it's necessary. Nixie tube holder. I'm going to call this a keep. We need to do stuff with Nixie tubes soon. We have the DRO that we were working on, and then we have this here that my brother took out of a piece of equipment way back in the day. But it's a good little numerical Nixie tube holder. A lot of wires coming off of it though. Probably could use some PCBs to route that stuff around. I'm going to call this a display, and I'm going to put it in with the LED displays. The bins are going to become less organized as we go through them. Is this 15 volts? What are you? 15 volts. This is a synthesizer power supply. That goes right here. 15 volts. Okay. We're doing it. We're getting through the pile. Another quality product from Blackbox. Okay. This would be rack mount brackets, right? Yeah, these are... So, if I ever wanted to mount something with like a front face, I could use these brackets to hold on to it for like a rack panel. That's why I'm keeping them, but they need it. They need a better home. They need a place over there. So I'm going to toss this one in that direction. Jesus. That was way too loud. Sky Stars Talon 32 Slim 40 amp motor controller. This thing is so awesome. The only thing that I don't like about this is that I couldn't reprogram it to be an RC car controller, because this is a super light, super small 3-phase motor driver. I got it for like 20 or 30 bucks for a pack of 4 of these things. They're really good, and they would be really good for RC cars if you could... The difference between a drone controller and an RC car controller is the advent of reverse. You don't need extra MOSFETs to implement reverse, though, with a 3-phase motor. So this would be high current. It has an RGB LED on it. It's a Talon 32. It's got the STM chip on it that's like super reprogrammable. The only problem is they don't have... you can't program it to be an RC car control. It's killing me, because we tried to totally reinvent a motor controller to control an RC car. This does it. It's cheap. And if I could just reprogram it in the right way, it would be extremely effective. The problem is with drones, you're moving the motors in only one direction, and you don't want to slow them down. and you don't want to stop them, and you don't want to go in reverse unless you're doing some extreme flying. What in the world? This is just a cable. It's just a wire. What do I do with scrap? This goes in the wire box, the wire bin. What's this one? Oh, more such things. Oh, these are from 3D printer. These are from my old 3D printer. These little wire pieces. They're basically already professionally crimped on one end, which is why I'm keeping them. So let's put these in the wire bin. Get this stuff to the garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Those carbon fiber rods, I do not know what I could do with them. Move the can box to the top right. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Yoink. And then I need to move this behind Streamlabs. There we go. I have 2 dead Anycubic printers, the Neo and Cobra 2. I could build a custom printer. I would just need to learn electronic stuff like software. So if you learn Clipper is quite good with custom printer stuff. I'm going to turn off motion alerts. It's starting to really piss me off. Jeez, stop telling me about this crap. Okay, there we go. My phone is just buzzing every now and then. Somebody's working on the garage right now. Yeah, so 3D Printer Shack, if you learn Clipper, and there's plenty of really good guides out there, especially there's one where you can basically configure the guide depending on what printer you're using. If you have similar hardware, Clipper is very, very easy to customize your printer with. It's basically all your settings are on one big page of settings. And as long as you know what blocks of information to put in the settings, it'll basically make your printer for you. It's really cool stuff. This is from, I think, a power, yeah, there's plus and minus on it. This is from a backup battery. I don't know where the rest of the backup battery is. It's garbage. Why is it there? Why is it there? A length of silicon jacketed wire. No, this is garbage. We're letting stuff go, chat. We gotta let stuff go. Let stuff go. This is part of my water cooling stuff, so that goes to water cooling. And these little lengths of hose are also just garbage. Just left over from projects. The copper tubes will go in a scrap pile, but the ones that I have already ruined are getting thrown out. Like this one here that I've sealed on one end, I've sealed on both ends, and then I did a test bend. Just going in a little test bend. That's garbage. This one's bent. It's just garbage, garbage, garbage. This used to have a bag around it. I don't know where the bag went, but these are scrap tubes. I have a place for them. So for now, I'm just going to put them at the side of the desk here. This was a really cool looking mount for I guess putting a screen on something. Can that fit on this screen? Yeah, all right, so let's keep those together. Maybe this going through there. So this screen can be mounted on a controller now, if I figure out the rest of this thing. I don't know where it would go, where this thing bolts to. I don't know where this came from, but this is so that I think so you can put the screen on your RC controller. But I don't have the cars don't have that type of controller. They've got a trigger controller. McMaster car. These are spacers of a particular set length. These can go in my generic parts bins. I don't need these to be separate anymore. These are very specific for the height of the 3D printer. I don't know where to put them. The Neo came back to life. It's just like, okay, I think I'll work now. Just suddenly, oh, I guess I'll live. Ah! Come back here, stool. There we go. A potentiometer of unknown origin and type. B104. So that's a 4 kilo ohm. B1. Nope, don't know enough. Goes in the garbage bin. A motor controller, a fairly competent LM298N motor controller board. I frequently find uses for these boards. These were sent in by Twisted Sister. When he saw that I didn't have a generic motor controller, he just decided to send me this suddenly. This is, I believe, is it H-bridge? So it's 2 motors? Hold on, let's check. Out 2 and out 3. Out 1, 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, this is an H-bridge motor controller, I believe. Or no, it's a dual motor controller. There we go. I don't know. I guess I'll keep them, but they show up in weird places. That's why I'm like, do I keep it? Do I not? We'll put it in with the RC car stuff, I guess. Another bin of RC car parts. I have too many of these, and I probably need to throw a bunch of them out. I end up being like, well, that part will come in use someday. LM386. I don't know what the LM386 does, but I've got a couple boards with an LM386 on it. I'll throw it over there. Just put it with my electronic stuff. The PCB for the RC car controller project. We went through so much on this thing. This is a fairly competent little board. I mean, it's pretty awesome. It does what it needs to do with these tiny little MOSFETs. I just could never get them to work properly. It didn't ramp up the motor to its full potential. I don't know why. Maybe it was a soldering issue. We did all this software and all this hardware stuff for it. It's another one of those projects that I would chalk up. I don't know why we're talking about chalk. Why are we talking about why did you mention chalk? Why are we talking about chalk? Anyway, it's one of those. I would put it to learning the CAD tools that I use, basically. That's the justification behind that one. The failed motor project. We're getting into some water cooling tubes here, I'm finding. I don't know how useful these are. They do come in handy. These water cooling tubes come in handy when I'm like troubleshooting stuff or, you know, trying to reconfigure something. This is a laser tube that I wrapped copper around. I'll keep the laser tube, but I'm getting rid of the copper because it's a failed experiment. Failed experiments we do not have time for. Gun part. That should go back behind me. Oh, my back. Getting a cramp. I usually don't have terrible back problems. I've got a pretty stable back. Oh, this is like an infrared illuminator for one of those stupid pervert cameras. It's basically a bunch of infrared LEDs sitting below a display, and the display was a clock, and it had a one-way mirror. And it was really bad. It got sent to my brother because my brother kept getting sent these Amazon review packages. Yeah, here's the glass for it. It's actually not as one way as you'd think. I was going to try to do something with this glass. I think this might be from another one. But anyway, it would be something like a clock, and there would be a camera in it. And my brother got sent it because nobody wants to buy the perverted camera thing and review it. Nobody's going to send it. Like, this camera was really great. I got to hide this in a bedroom. Like, nobody's writing those reviews. So they would purchase it and have some kind of shady operation where they would send it to, like, it would be addressed to, like, Joe Human, actual person. It'd be like a fake name, right? Mr. Lobotomy. And so my brother would get these packages from Mr. Lobotomy and open them up because technically as soon as it gets to your door, it's your property. And it would be, you know, Pervert Cam 5000. He's like, I'm not giving this to my kids. Like, there's no way in hell. So he sent them to me to take apart and destroy. What an operation, though. What a weird operation. What a noble operation. No. Joe Pervert ordering all these camcorders. Little piece of scrap. This is for like under cabinet lighting, and it also takes the LED strip. So if I wanted a thing that would light up with the LED, I could put this corner piece in. I think this is garbage, though. can't hold on to it. I don't have space for something like that. Oh, this is the coolest enclosure for a Raspberry Pi 3. It's just a big old heatsink. Pretty cool. Just a big old heatsink above and below. No use for this though, because a Raspberry Pi is sitting in its own custom cabinet with its own cooling. I have a bunch of Raspberry Pis, don't I? Industrial stuff. Goes with industrial stuff. I love industrial stuff. The big crunchy buttons that have like a modularity to them, and you can reconfigure them in all kinds of different ways. They're very expensive. You ever spend $100 on a button? You can now with industrial buttons. And they last forever, ever. They just never go bad. Garbage. So these are all the failed laser coolers. The laser on Burn the Subs is just simply a laser pointer that's being pointed at the board, right? At the big block of wood. I love my PETG, and I have seen a couple projects that have stuff printed in PETG that is watertight. And I thought, hey, why don't I just do that? Let's print out a little thing that'll go around the laser and cool it. And because it's soda bottle plastic, no water's getting through. And so I printed it up and it leaked. And so I tweaked the settings and printed it up and it leaked. And it leaked and it leaked and it leaked. And it kept leaking. And I kept altering stuff. And I just never got a hang of it. I guess what you need to do is up your amount of extrusion so that it really squishes the plastic down on itself. But then at the same time, our Burn the Subs has a big pump on it. And so that big pump is putting a little bit of pressure into the silicon line that goes all the way out to the laser. And I guess that pressure was enough to extrude water from between the layers of the 3D print. So what I ended up doing is printing it in the SLA printer, and that just created a watertight seal because those layers are so close to one another. You know, there's really like almost no seam that's detectable on the SLA, so yeah, SLA prints are waterproof. If the mail was U.S. Postal Service, opening and or destroying mail delivered to the wrong address is a crime. But no, it's not. It's Amazon delivering it, so apparently the rules are a little different. Gotta find an SD card adapter. I've got some of those stashed away somewhere. I've never seen FDM prints end up watertight. I saw a creator do that. It was the guy who made the, oh, what was it again? It was something high pressure. But they had like a water adapter that they 3D printed, and in order to get it to seal, they used PETG, and they apparently upped their extrusion settings quite a bit. So it was possible that I could get something that would properly seal, but I never got to the point of getting that to work. So I just whipped it out of the SLA printer. Okay, cable organizers was one of the bins that I toppled, and I think it's one of the bins that I need to recreate. There's more stuff from that power supply that I took apart, and more carbon fiber rods. What am I doing with carbon fiber rods? What could I possibly? It's like a low ohm resistor. No, because you can't do stuff like that with this because it's impregnated with epoxy. So if you get it too hot, it'll shred, and it'll also smoke and you know, come to flame. Why can't I use words anymore? Words fail. Another USB adapter. No, get out of here. Don't need it. Throw it out. What are you? Stuff in a box. Oh, 12 volt to 5 volt converter. This would be a much larger 5 volt power supply, but it's also not a very smart power supply, so I don't really use these. This would be if I temporarily needed a bunch of power, or if something just needed rough 5 volts. I think it got accidentally ordered. Yeah, this is just it's a big dumb converter. If I was gonna power like a 5 volt motor, 5 volts, 5 amps. So if I had like a car battery that I needed to adapt to something, where do I put stuff like that? I guess that goes way over there with the electronics stuff, although it probably should be in a bin for like cars. Gotta make sure I'm keeping up with chat over here. If Amazon delivered it, the rules are probably different. I mean, the person that they're delivering it to did not exist. Like, they just don't exist. And yeah, I think with Amazon, I think he must have contacted Amazon to get that thing about it. You know, once it's dropped off at the location, it's not their responsibility anymore. So that's a wild scheme, though. Just sending people random stuff. All right, this is a power supply that has its own plug that was for the camcorder, I think. Where's that gone? Oh my god. Oh, this thing is definitely garbage. This is not, no way, nope. Just because I know how to operate the little electrons inside of something means that I'm the dumping ground for everyone's power supplies. Oh, this is for my CPAP machine when I had that from Respironics. It's a Philips power supply. What is it? Output 12 volts, 6 amps. That's actually a sizable... That is a sizable amount of 12 volts. I don't know if I can actually let that go. I don't know if I can actually let that go, chat. It looks like it also has data on it, too. I've got this 7-pin connector, and in the middle there's a data pin, so it seems like this might report back on usage. It's one of those smart plugs. But do we know what protocol it's speaking? Let's see if we can find out. Let's see if we can find out what protocol this thing is. Here, I'll bring you guys back over to the desk. What is that emote? What is that one? Oh my god, it's cursed. Jay's cat. Jay Streezy, huh? What the hell? That's a cursed emote. So, this is a Respironics power supply, AC/DC adapter, 100-240, 12 volts, 6.67 amps. Jeez. So, MDS 080. DS. I hate it when there are wires on top of the keyboard. It wasn't all one, was it? Dash 080 AAS12. MVS dash. By the way, the thing that we were working on last stream a million years ago, and I apologize, I haven't been able to stream. Whoa. My whole computer just froze on that for, okay, neat. Wow. My computer is now eating itself. Yeah, so I didn't stream. Life has been kicking me in the groin. During that time, we actually looked at the WebSocket messaging, and it turns out, you know, very, very unfortunate of us, because it's not that complicated, right? The messages that we were looking at were actually in relation to the subscription to event sub, not a channel subscription. The channel subscription, totally different thing. The channel subscription has its own data, and that does not include a unique alphanumeric identifier. The subscription to event sub has its own unique identifier because you log into event sub with your robot key and then you subscribe to these things that are happening. So that has its own ID. It has its own alphanumeric ID that does not represent the subscription that somebody has, you know, given my channel money for. Really annoying, but it puts us right back where we started. It's on Amazon. 80 watt, 12 volt, compatible with Philips Respir systems. OEM original, etc., etc., etc. So this is a compatible. How much do they? $70. They really expect us to believe that they sit there and they're pulling on the wire. I was in like 3 channels before. Oh, what's that? Google's confirming the packages not delivered by USPS can be kept if they were sent to the wrong address. Interesting. I sure do love when companies make important screws non-magnetic and black. I dropped 2 and I can't find them. Ugh. Yeah, the stainless steel screws are nice, but they really, I have a big problem with them because they keep dropping off of the tool that I use. What the hell is that? That's like a car adapter. I want to know what that 3rd pin is doing. What are they going for? $18.99. $70 on Amazon, $18.99 on eBay. I want like a data sheet for this, but I don't think I'm going to find it. Dream Station, etc. Original Delta. I think this is kind of cursed. I think we're just finding replacement. Just replacement units instead of any information about it. Maybe I can do a data sheet. Arrow Electronics, huh? Oh, damn it. Well, let's look at the data sheet. There we go. That's a little bit more like it. MDS series of external power supplies come with universal AC input. Other features include low earth leakage. Oh yeah, I don't want a lot of earth leakage either. ITE and safety. Efficiency versus output. Normal's 12 volts. 6 amps max. Pretty good response. Test fixture setup. Cool. So what is that 3rd pin? It's got a hiccup mode for short circuit. 1,000,000 hours. You found. I put it back together and I have all these spare parts. Let's see. Overtemp. So the block diagram of everything that's going on here. There's an opto isolator for the feedback circuit for the over temperature protection, and there's the feedback there, and then VDO. What in the world? Cover, chassis, power cord, socket. Okay. What is that extra pin doing? The power supply output voltage will remain within plus minus 3% of its steady state value when subjected to a dynamic load change. That's okay. Inrush current and short circuit protection. Nothing about the data pin, really. What is that? As mentioned above, the power supply also has over temperature protection. This is activated when the overload condition persists. External duration, the output current's below, blah, 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 blah. Power supply run into OTP, YouTube poop, when the surrounding air temperature is higher, blah, 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 blah. Is that the feedback pin? Is that the feedback pin in the middle? Input and output. Damn, we find a whole ass data sheet on this thing, and it still doesn't tell us what the heck is going on with that other pin. And it's not listed as like a feature. And yet, clear as day, right in front of me, we've got plus, minus, and then the extra pin. And the extra pin comes from its own special socket for that extra little something something. So there's an inside barrel, there's an outside barrel, and then there's a pin. It's like a laptop, which I think means that that extra pin is something to do with current sensing. Achievement unlocked, built a RC Racing teapot. I want to see it. I want it posted either in the Discord or here, because that sounds fascinating. The RC teapot racing sounds so awesome. A pin to determine if the connector's plugged in. That's possible. I would love for it to say that somewhere. Usually those are based on like the barrel, not like an extra pin. Yeah, this is baffling to me. They don't list it anywhere in this thing. Maybe the Philips put a different, but this is the same model. It's the same exact model. So why wouldn't it say something about that pin? The CPAP was full of all kinds of really amazing parts. Although if I kept it together and sent it back, I probably would have gotten a sizable amount of money out of them. Oh well. Was it worth the amount that I would have gotten back? I think it was like 150 bucks. It would have been worth. Talk about expensive for Philips though. Whoever decided to put that foam in the air channel hopefully gets a lecture from a classic car guy, because those dudes know exactly what happens to foam when it gets old. Power supply's output function also provides protection against short circuits. Power supply returned to its normal after the... It really does list this as if there's not that extra pin, so I don't know. The missing screw is not important at a part of the tool head that I don't really need, which is the front cover. Oh, okay, yeah, the front cover is fairly low priority. What if I look up the socket, maybe? What would that socket... I don't know if we could find a part number on the socket. Oh, part number. That's the part number for this whole pigtail. So the socket itself is probably something else. Oh, but it does have something stamped on it. What is that? Is it a little guy? Is that a little guy right there? There's a little squirrel. It's got like there's a little guy. I don't know what that is. Crazy. Okay, so what is this number? This horrifying 1Z0209-E? Wow. E6 12209-06. Farnell? Not quite. Wait. Yeah, no, these are crazy wackadoo connectors. Now we're never going to find it like that. I could maybe find it with dimensions if I really needed to get down into the dirty, because it's probably on DigiKey. Maybe. I just find it completely weird that we were able to find an exact data sheet and yet they don't say anything about that center pin. Have the printer print in air to make sure it moves and heats up before I toss PLA. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's normal printer stuff. So safety approvals compliant with IEC, low touch current, over voltage low temperature short protections, 1,000,000 hours MBTF, 2x mop isolate, what? 3 years 3-year warranty, a bunch of safety standards, no feature according to the center pin being for anything. And yet, gone to all of the trouble to do something with that center pin. What could it be? What if we look up, well, if we look up this, we're just going to find the pigtail, but 118463. 118463 Data sheet. Three-pole surface. Mount isolator switch. Nope, 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 nope. You really do find the weirdest stuff, huh? Multi-chip flash memory. Nah, I don't think we're going to find anything. Yeah, it's too obscure. All right, well, I guess I'm keeping it because that's a lot of 12 volts. 12 volts at 6 amps is a significant amount of power. However, I guess the mystery remains of why there would be a center pin to this thing. It probably wouldn't be to detect if the power supply is plugged in. I think that's a lot of trouble to go through when the barrel, your typical barrel switch already has a switch in it. Your barrel jack, typically, your typical power jack, your typical power barrel jack already has a switch in it. So why have a center pin possibly to communicate, hey, I have enough power you can draw from, or a more complicated digital signal would be able to tell you like temperature and current usage and stuff like that. I don't know why it's there. And we've gone through the due diligence of finding an entire data sheet for that part. It's crazy that they wouldn't say anything about that third pin. Ground for the metal housing, but I mean, maybe, but that seems like, it just seems too crazy. Let's, on a center pin, because so there are laptops that use that center pin. That's what I'm basing my assumptions on, is the laptops that have that center pin report back some kind of like a current usage. And so I would think that maybe the CPAP would be able to do that with it. And in turn, if it were able to do that, why would it not be plastered all over the data sheet? It should be all over the data sheet. It should be just look at our product. We can give you all this information. Nope, nothing. Single output 12 for 12 volts. A is amperage. So 080 maximum wattage of the product. Crazy. Kind of crazy, huh? Extra pin is for like a one-wire protocol. The power supply can communicate with a laptop. I wanted to find out what that protocol was. I think the place to go for that would have been the data sheet for the power supply, but they don't list it. They don't say anything about it in the data sheet, which is crazy. Maybe this is like a discontinued one, or maybe they made specifically for DreamStation. They have like a one-wire protocol data pin that's not listed in the typical data sheet. Maybe that's what it is. But the model number is the same. Wait, what's the model number? Oh, really? Respitronics is like right around the corner. MDS 080 AAS. Okay, that's the same family code. 12A. It's the same model number. You wouldn't have two versions of the power supply have the same model number, would you? Would you do that? Maybe you would. Maybe you would. All depends on where you put the inflection. Yeah, I mean, there's no data about it in here. I'm actually kind of shocked about that. Kind of shocked. So what do I do with this? I guess this goes in the power supply container that's in the other room. So I'm going to put this in a place where I'll remember to take it into the other room. I so infrequently use wall supplies that I've got the container for it sitting in the other room. Now this thing over here was absolutely fascinating. This little guy right here. This little 3D print right here uses one of those motor controllers, and it's got all these big PETG pieces to it. And we should try to put this one back together, because what this does when it's together is it uses all these ultrasonic emitters in order to levitate drops of water in the middle. We can set this up at some point, and it'll be one of those streams where I literally just sit there and oogle this thing Let's slate that to be put back together soon, because this was a really fun project and it had a really good conclusion. And then I think Rabaz raided me and I was able to show off this thing functioning. It's very theatrical. It's very sort of in your face. Cool stuff. So let's put that back over here. We'll bring that out, maybe mount a laser to it. What I did is I just used my green laser pointer to illuminate the target, essentially. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. It'll levitate little pieces of styrofoam. What happens is basically if you have two waves and they run into one another, they'll cancel out. They'll cancel out or amplify each other. So when you have a bunch of ultrasonic waves, those represent pressure on an object. And so you have a high and low pressure zone. And so you take advantage of the low pressure zones in order to hold something up in the air. Really cool stuff. Very cool, very cool, very cool. This is more industrial box stuff. So that goes with all the industrial stuff. I think there's a pile of industrial over here. This is scrap carbon fiber. I don't know. I just don't know. This is the old computer back. And it's this beautiful, Hobby King sells this beautiful, what is it? Yeah, millimeter thick. I think, yeah, millimeter, not 1.5. 300 millimeter by 200 millimeter sheet of carbon fiber. If I ever had something that I was building with carbon fiber, I love using this stuff. It's real carbon fiber, it's conductive, and it's got this matte coating on it, which makes it absolutely gorgeous. We had a really cool look for the computer project with this stuff where we had the clear anodized. I don't have anything clear anodized near me. It was sort of like a dull aluminum right next to the carbon fiber. It looked really good. So I guess I'm keeping this because there's still a lot of good carbon fiber on this thing. It would be kind of a waste to throw it out. But it is absolutely the type of thing that I should be throwing out. Ooh, that was loud. More power supplies. This is what I'm talking about. Just because you're the person in your friend circle who does all of the stuff with electronics, like do anything with electronics, and people are just like, here's a power supply. Here, take this power supply. Here, I got this power supply. Laptoptravel.com. What? So 12 to 17 volts at 4.2 amps. 12 to 17 is kind of a little, yeah. Yeah, this is gone. This is gone. I hate being the dump site for all of everyone's laptop stuff. Wait, I thought we just had one of these. I guess I got two. Why do I have two of them? It's just a little metal pad that you put on your milling machine so that you can tap the tool to it and it'll conduct. Dump site and tech support. God, I hate it. Look like a motherboard tray? Yeah, that's... It'll take all your extra 12 and 20 volt jobbers. No! I hate that. All right, let's see here. I don't know why there's so many power supplies in whatever we're organizing. Yeah, these two parts were for a drone. It was actually a pretty badass little drone. I probably should have actually flown it at all. This is like a whole drone right here. All I would need is a piece of carbon fiber in the middle to hold the battery, and you have just sort of a neat little, powerful little drone. I guess I'm going to put these in the RC car stuff, even though it's not like I'm going to use these for... I wonder how this would power like a full-sized RC car. Probably not well. I do have larger motors that maybe I could configure for that. Oh, Keurig. A lot of Keurig parts, which include these like valves and pumps and wires and stuff. I think I'm going to get rid of these because we haven't done anything really with them. These are like little air valves that the Keurig uses. The Keurig is a fascinating coffee maker because what it does is it draws an entire cup of coffee into a central reservoir and heats it up. And then when it needs to serve, for instance, a large glass or a small glass, it has different sensors, capacitive water sensors. So it'll fill itself up with water until it touches that sensor. So your hot water, your almost boiling water is mixed with cool water in order to bring it up to the volume. It then pumps air into the reservoir, which then ejects all the stuff. Here is something. It's some kind of a chip that never made it into my surface mount parts. Let's go find out what that is. We got a chip to look up. But the older Keurigs, you take them apart and they're an absolute bundle of stuff. RC car with drone motors on the back like an X-Wing. I mean, or I could just put them into some kind of a drone. That was going to be my racist drone. I mean, my racing drone. What in the heck? We got to get closer. Close. So close. T 1606. It's just 3 numbers. Come on, guys. 1606. 1751. I can't hit the 5 key because there's a wire under the key. 51. 7037. Package type. Montage M, data list. Let's get rid of the 737 at the end because that might be a lot number. Oh, it's a CRGB controller. Maybe. 2160 channel 8-bit source driver. No, that's not the right thing. For TFT LCDs. What is this thing? This is a different chip entirely. Oh my God, look at the size of this data sheet. Is this the chip for the screen? No, this is different. Yeah, this is a hard to figure out one. Rule of thumb, if you can't find any matches on Google, it's an op amp. No, I've never run into that. So T1606, I'm not going to look up the T because that's a logo, but like 1606 data sheet, I don't know if that's going to be too generic. Yeah. Switch mode power supply, cost-effective founder. Okay, so the package is what? Wait, NCP 1606. No, not quite. Not my tempo. I don't think it's a power factor controller, but this is how many pins? This is like a weird package type because it's smaller than a dip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 16 pin something something. 1606 16 pin. That corporation. Aha! The T is demystified. It's going to be some weird. Let's see what package they actually named for it. 16 pin wide SO. And then do I have the wide SO or the QSOP? So yeah, it's coming up with the acronym on your own is less reliable because they'll make stuff up. What are we though? What is this thing? New generation of monolithic audio differential line drivers. Huh? Why do I have that? Oh, maybe it was parts for fixing something. The M303 or maybe just building some other synthesizer. Well, that needs to go in a bin. These are special. So this is a current-controlled amplifier designed from the ground up. It's complementary dielectric isolation process. Both models incorporate that's patented. Outsmarts technology. This dual feedback loop design that prevents excessive ground currents typical of cross-coupled output stages. When clipping into single-end loads, Outsmart uses two individual negative feedback loops to separately control differential output voltage and common mode output currents, making the designs inherently more stable. This is a mouthful. Okay, so this is a very special chip. These need to go in a special spot for a special boy. Huh. That must have come with the other chips and made it into one of the bins for synthesizers, but not the proper spot. So what I'm going to do is give it its own little home in one of these little bins. Here, let's get further out. Here. I don't know whose synth used the That Corporation stuff. Marketing wankery is a whole lot of that what that text is, but the sauce is in there somewhere. Yeah, and it seemed like they were actually saying, we wanted to address this thing that happens. It seems a little bit more genuine than your typical market wankery, where they have like a made-up term that they're using. Instead, seems to me to be like a real-world thing that they're frustrated about not being able to design around and decided to make their own version of this chip as a result. The 1606, I forget what we were doing with that. I don't remember whose design it was. I don't know if it was straight up a Mutable Instruments thing or not, or if it was an M303 thing, because I don't remember this chip type being on the M303. All right, that gets its own little box and gets put over there. Oh, I'll attach it to another little box. This is how these bins full of parts get started. These are actually red LEDs. These need to be labeled. But we'll put them there so I don't lose them. Linking the two bins together. Together at last. Unlabeled. In their lane. Thriving. Alright, what are next? I can't... Yeah, that part would have been lost to the annals of history. Very dangerous time here at the shop. That is cleanup time. This is an RC car part. Very small. Emergency stop button. I love emergency stop buttons. There's all kinds of different designs, and they're all fascinating. Though it is harder these days to get like a quality emergency stop button, just because everybody's pinching pennies on everything. So finding one that's really got like a lot of good design elements to it can get expensive quickly. Some kind of an Arduino with a whole bunch of outputs. What is this? What are you? What is this? What are you? You're controlling something. It's something I built, and I forget why or what. What was I doing with you? This is an Arduino soldered with a couple JST connectors and a little female like header. What was I doing with it? I have no memory of this. What were you? Something I probably threw together fairly quickly. What's under the Arduino? This thing is on the chopping block. It's facing elimination, hinging on whether or not I can remember what the hell it was. No, no idea. Just a couple soldered connections back here. Power, data. I wonder what you were doing. If I throw this out, who wagers that it actually had some kind of a purpose? If it did, it would go with my programmers, though. And this is currently not with my programmers. It's just a couple of these things attached to what? I'm like on the cusp of remembering what I was doing with this. Is it the controller for the levitation thing? That might be what it is. I'll put it with the levitation thing, because I'll wager that this is the controller for it. Although we might have to rebuild the controller for the levitation thing. It's not with your programmers because it's in your hand. Well, I have a particular place for those things to go. Everything made cheap and made to fail now. Yeah, it's really annoying. You got to dig through old equipment to find the really good industrial stuff. Insanity bin monster farts technology. Jeez, that is a... It's the interocitor or the turbo encabulator. What are you? ICOM, class 2 transformer, 12 volts, 200 milliamps. That should be somewhere else. Charging a radio, probably. That one will go back. Oh boy. Yeah, so the Keurig was filled with all kinds of cool stuff like this that I never actually got to use in any of my water cooling projects, but like this is a ribbed for our pleasure thick silicon hose, and it can do a bend radius that's tighter than just a regular hose because of the ribs on it, keeping the hose under the proper pressures and stuff. A lot of really fascinating components like that inside of that coffee maker, but I guess I gotta let them go, so they get thrown out. Big emergency stop button. I should make a controller that only uses emergency stops. Industrial button goes in there. Fittings for the cabinets. Oh, and then there's like brackets and stuff that keep those bend radiuses. Cool stuff. But it's all garbage. Air pump. I've got a little air pump over here. Air pumps and valves. That was a cool one, and I don't understand why some people in chat were actually getting fed up with me working on the Keurig again. They're like, why aren't you working on Burn the Subs? And it's like, I don't owe you nothing. Especially the person who's, I remember now, the person who was annoyed with me wasn't a subscriber. So there wasn't even like a subscription hanging in the balance. It was simply like do the thing that I want you to work on, streamer. It's like, dude, first of all, I'm under no obligations. I've made no guarantees as to where your funding's going when you subscribe to my channel, for the sole purpose of me being able to focus on things that I want to. I do not put guarantees behind that. So, coming in and being like entitled to my time of day, like just baffling behavior from chat members. It happens. You don't sign a waiver to sign up for Twitch, so you get all kinds of weirdos. Oh, another one of these switches, these little number switches, and an accelerometer board. Why is that over there? I'm finding some very weird stuff. Very weird stuff. Lots of little ends of tube over here for the Keurig dump. But that was a really fascinating one. I took my time and really like set it up to be like a display of how the Keurig worked, because there were truly a lot of things going on in that. They had a lot of stuff happening for that coffee maker to work the way it did. I remember what the problem was. I was a dum-dum and gave up. All it is a reversed wire. Oh my God, really? Well, you figured it out though. It's the fix might be to plug the wire in the other way around, but the expert is required to find that issue. There's a purpose. ADXL345, so I could strap this to the bed of my 3D printer and then use it along with the accelerometer that's on the CAN bus converter on the print head in order to balance out vibrations on the bed. This is an encoder. You can put a number in and it'll spit it out in binary coded decimal with a common pin. And then on one side it has an input and on the other it has an output, I think. I forget how this works, but it will push the output to its neighbor, I think, and then flip it over. Here, hold on. I think, oh yeah, we're on exclusively on the microscope camera. I have 2 of them over here at my desk for when I need to remember a 2-digit number. We can make that a 3-digit number. So here's 2. Okay, so it doesn't do the carryover bit. They just simply fix to one another. Some of them do. Some of them have some kind of a thing where it carries over the number. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Those are cool. Okay, back to this view. No, wrong view. Wrong view. There you go. It really doesn't look like we've gotten through a lot of this. Cable organizer bin is the next one, and I think that's going to clear out a lot of that work area. Yeah, the accelerometer is on the build plate, and the build plate is hot. Well, it's on the whole carriage, so I think I can get away with like a big piece of foam tape on there. I think it would be good, but then I've got to run the wires, and I don't have the provisions to run the wires at the moment. But I would like to get that running eventually so that I can have sensing. What is this? Something that I attached to something else with double-sided stuff, but it's got this complicated piece of plastic that I don't know what it is. Looks like a measuring tool that I velcroed to something. What the well, I don't know. I guess I'm dropping this. I don't know what it was. I haven't needed it yet, so I'll never need it. Industrial parts. What else we got here? Little bits of plastic all over the place. What was this tube? I think this is automotive. Oh, this was part of my headlights, I think. What was this doing with my headlights? Oh, the mysteries that you'll find. I think, yeah, maybe not. Maybe it was just... Oh, no, these are the sprayer for my car windshield. What in the world? No. Yes? I don't remember. Simba, remember. I can't. I don't know. All right, little wires and stuff. There's another adapter underneath all this. Oh my god. There's a barrel connector right here, and I'm getting mad looking at it. I'm just getting mad because it represents a friend coming over to my house and giving me a power supply and going, I don't have any use for this. You probably do because you do stuff with electricity. So I'm just angry. Oh, this is a gyro for RC car stuff. Very small indeed. I think it's just to supplement another gyro, but I don't know what the pinout is. I guess that goes with RC cars. Yeah, this is all organizing stuff. All right, well, gotta get into this. Let's get this stuff into a bin. All the wire organizers. This one's a little bit deeper, so I think it'll be able to hold all this weird stuff. We don't need this spool. That's a garbage. That's what that is. Oh, there's a whole thing of this stuff. All right, here we go. Oh, this is a big piece. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, and there's the USB connector for the camera. So I got to watch out for that thing because that'll short out the camera. Not short it out, but it'll disconnect, and then the computer goes, oh my god, what's going on? And then the video crashes. Oh, and I can't bump you guys either. You'll fall over. You guys are on a very precarious little piece of cardboard that can collapse very easily. I should put these in a plastic bag, but I don't have plastic bags on me right now. Unless it's sitting in the corner, it might be. Just go there for now. These weird umbilical cables. I used to have the panel connector for those. I don't remember what I did with them. Or for like the top of a server rack. Well, that did a significant amount to kind of empty out the busyness of the table. And go see what you guys are doing. Oh, you're talking about your printer. All right. I was talking about mine. All right. Yeah, so we've done a little bit of organizing. I'm going to have to do more on my own. I think I'm going to call it because it's like, this is going to be drawn out. And it's going to take me a while to get little things into the locations that they need to go. I think what we'll work on tomorrow is resurrecting the levitation station because that's a pretty cool thing. I had some other 3D prints for it. I have the designs in Fusion 360 for a back panel and like a top panel for this thing. But I don't know where they went. Actually, wait, there's one. It's right there. Designing just like a vented panel for this thing. So maybe we can get some of this stuff together and we can levitate stuff. That'll be pretty cool. But yeah, until then, I just want to thank everybody for joining me on this discovery journey of old crap that's been sitting against my wall for months. I'll be back on Thursday. Take a day and I'll probably finish up the stuff that I'm doing over there. Just get stuff to kind of dissipate into their own locations and hopefully come back with a significantly smaller, come back with less stuff. It's funny because you really want to hold on to certain things when you mess around with electronics on the level that we do, the level that we engage with electronics. You have times when you're like, man, if only I had this part, if only I had a standing MOSFET heatsink that had two big tabs on the bottom. And so you keep stuff like this, it ends up in your sort of miscellaneous parts bins. It's worth going through and just setting a standard and saying, I am going to throw out everything that I haven't needed or used. But yes, sometimes you just hold on to something and one time it becomes useful. You justify sort of your hoard of crap. I'm trying to prevent that from happening. I'm trying to whittle down the hoard of crap and maybe get a little bit of use out of some stuff before I die and somebody else has to clean up my estate. But anyway, thanks everybody. Let me just do my end thing. I needed to go into the admin section to do that. I forgot to put the exclamation point in front of the command for like 3 months. And so I wasn't updating the actual command. And so it said next stream is like a month ago. And I was like, wait a second, because it just looked like, so 29. So the next one will be the 1st of the month. Aug 01, huh? We're already at Aug 01 2025. Jeez. All right, everybody, have a good one. Here's the end command up in chat. And that has the link to the Discord, which is, I think, my only social media at the moment. I'm not comfortable going back to X, although that is where I have the engagement with all the electronics things. I would love it if Blue Sky would actually contact me because I have a whole bunch of followers there. August 1st is Friday, not Thursday. 2 days, 20 hours. Oh, jeez. I'm good at calendars. Just in case, just so I can not confuse any future editors. We're going to put back Jewel 29. And I'll do the end card again. This time, get it right. There we go. Wait a minute, 3 hours ago? Three hours, 25 minutes and 12 seconds. Oh, there's 30th. I'm good at days. I'm really good at days, you know. So Joule 30. Okay, third time's the charm, the charm, right? It's the 31st of and there we go. Your calendarly challenged streamer. Oh, it's okay. Nightbot is done. Nightbot has nothing for me. They don't want nothing to do with me. Well, it said it updated the command. It just hasn't gone through. I'm being rate limited by Nightbot, huh? Come on, Nightbot, you can do it. There it is. That took it a significant amount of time. Okay, anyway, next stream is 20 hours, 34 minutes and 4 seconds from now. 20 hours, right? Not quite 24? Is that correct? Yes, that's correct, because otherwise it would be in a couple hours. My brain, I'm in like the Twilight Zone. Okay, yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go do my thing. You guys go do yours. We'll meet up on Discord. I'll be back on Thursday, and we will try to make things float in the air, because it'll be really cool. I will catch you guys then. What am I doing there?